Here we go again. And I think the VOD will be saved this time, which is good. I'll give it a bit of time. Won't jump on the ladder just yet. Give it like 10 minutes or so, like I did last time. See if anybody trickles in. I did sort of commit to a start time for this only about an hour ago. And then I thought I might be late, but managed not to be. But if I'm going to do more of this, I do need to figure out better planning, I guess is what it comes down to. That's alright, though. It'll come in time if I do stick to doing more of this. And I think it makes sense for me to do that, but I don't know. Only so much time, right? I see one viewer, and I don't know if that's me. It might be. Let me know in chat if you're someone other than me and you're here. So I'm just going to mute myself for a second. Still getting set up a little bit. Just a moment. Okay, I should be unmuted again now. I think. Almost set up. Like I said, I'll give it about 10 minutes like last time before I start laddering. Everybody's weather today. Looks fairly sunny here, but I don't know, at least indoors it hasn't felt too hot. That's been pretty good so far. I have not yet gone outside today. We'll see what happens when I do. But sun's out for sure. I hear it's very hot in some other parts of Canada. Like dangerously so. But how it goes now, I guess. I'm definitely. I hope the ladder is active today. I'm looking forward to. I scrolled further down in the Nimbasa City Post sample team list to the unique Mega Evolution pages. That was a weird way to put that. The compilation of Megas that only appear once instead of being grouped separately from each other. One team for. There's only one Mega Lopunny team on there. There's only one Mega Scizor team. There's only one Mega Latias team, etc. And there's some other really interesting Pokemon choices on some of those teams, so I think that's where we're going to start today. You know what? I don't need to drag this out for 10 minutes. We'll get going at 5 minutes in. Did say in about an hour. That was pretty spot on. That'll do for an announcement, I guess. All right. 5 minutes down, just about. If anyone wants to trickle in, I'm sure they will. Just didn't want to jump in immediately. But now I think it's time. And like I said, we're going to scroll down to the other Mega Evolution section, the section 4, Mega Pokemon that appear only once in this list instead of having entire categories to themselves. And right off the bat, I'm very fascinated by this Mega Lopunny team. Lopunny is not a Pokemon I'm especially fond of, but there's a Drampa on this team. And there's an Ultra Beast that I am especially fond of, one of my favorites of that group, Blacephalon. But of course, then I look down a tiny bit further, and we have this paste here, and I have looked at the paste already. This is Swords Dance Extreme Speed Linoone, so I have to try that. And then I'm a little worried about what this looks like down here. But let's go one at a time. Honestly, let's just go through these 6. I want to try a lot of different Mega Evolutions. This is the way to do it. So we'll start with Graham Amity, Mega Lopunny, Electrium Zed Zapdos with Tailwind. It also knows Roar, which is super interesting. Roar in VGC, not a move you see very often. There may be some value in forcing opponents to switch out. That might be part of the Komodo counterplay for this team, for example. There are Pokemon like Komodo, also Eevee, which is more rare, but you do see it, that rely on setting up a lot of boosts exactly once. I'm not sure if that's what Roar is for on this team, especially since this is not a bulky Zapdos. But the other thing Roar can do in VGC is deny Trick Room. It's kind of situational, of course, because it doesn't work in a few situations, but most notably if your opponent is down to their last 2 Pokemon. But Roar, even though it has negative priority, I believe it's -6, Trick Room has even lower priority. I think Trick Room is the only move in the game that has lower priority than Roar. So Roar will come out first, and it will force them to switch before they set Trick Room. That's one thing this might be for. Otherwise, Tailwind, Thunderbolt, Hidden Power, Ice, Bolt Beam coverage. You can tell this is hitting hard with max special attack, and it has the Electrium Zed. Scarf Blacephalon, this also has Hidden Power, Ice. I'm really looking forward to blowing things up with Blacephalon. I hope I find a good way to do that. Blacephalon is such a funny, quirky Ultra Beast design. I like it a lot. I don't think it's my very favorite Ultra Beast, but I don't know. If I were to dig down and figure out my rankings of the Ultra Beasts, I'd have to consider Blacephalon for number 1. It's probably more like 2 or 3. That's a really cool one. We have Life Orb Greninja. I think I'm going to be a little bit comfier with that than the weird, hyper-specific coverage Choice Scarf Greninja we've seen on some teams. Still no water attack. Apparently they just don't run one in this format. And this one actually has no stab at all, except it has Protean, so everything is stab. This is also pre-nerf Protean, so it'll always activate. But no water or dark type attack on this Greninja. Just Ice Beam, Low Kick, Gunk Shot, and Protect. But that's pretty useful coverage, and I don't have to worry about trying to figure out how to use Map Block, so I'm not complaining. And of course the Scarf is on Blacephalon. Then we have Mega Lopunny. I did not notice those fake tears. I really am looking at these Pokemon in isolation right now. Mega Lopunny, Fake Out, High Jump Kick, Return. I believe it gets Scrappy when it's Mega Evolved, so it will be able to hit Ghost types. In fact, it'll be able to fake out Ghost types. Fake Tears, lowering the target's special defense, creating openings for all 4, creating openings for everything else on the team. All of the rest of the team is... Greninja's mixed. In fact, Greninja's more of a physical attacker. It's got all this investment in attack, and it only has 1 special attack. But the Zed move is a special attack. The Scarf user is a special attacker. Of course, it'll go faster than Lopunny, but Lopunny hitting hard on the physical side and creating openings for its teammates in this very fast, hyper-offensive composition should be a lot of fun. Specs Tapu Lele is Specs Tapu Lele. And no Expanding Force in this game. I'm not sure Tapu Lele learns Expanding Force anyway. I think it probably doesn't. That was sort of the pattern with how they implemented the Tapu with those moves in Gen 8. And the Pokemon that really caught my eye here, Drampa with Tailwind. And also Roar. They got Roar and Tailwind on Zapdos. They got Roar and Tailwind on Drampa. I did not know that Drampa gets Tailwind. This Drampa also has Cloud9, so it doesn't have Berserk. It won't get the... Oh, you can't see the last 2 moves. Can't see the last 3 moves. Tapu Lele's last 3 moves are Moonblast, Dazzling Gleam, and Shadow Ball. Drampa's are Flamethrower, Hyper Voice, and Roar. Doesn't have Berserk, so it can't get the special attack boost, but it will shut down opponents' weather, which is interesting. Mega Charizard Y is on a lot of teams in this format. We've seen Politoed here and there. Cloud9 could be useful. But I'm looking forward to, hopefully, sweeping through teams with Mega Lopunny, Blacephalon, and Zapdos. Let's see what happens. Right off the bat, we get something out of Wolf Glick's Dreams. Gothitelle, Politoed, Ludicolo, Mawile, Tapu Koko, Incineroar. I actually think that's one of the other samples on this list. Nope, not quite, but it's close. This would be the first game of the stream, huh? I don't like how my mouse is set up. This is a little better. Okay, how do I beat this? Gothitelle and Politoed are obviously massive threats with the Perish Trap. Ludicolo is a Swift Swim attacker. Mega Mawile just hits really hard. Tapu Koko is fast and hits really hard. It could be running Thunder on this team. I'm going to want my Tailwind. I'm not sure whether Drampa or Zapdos is the better Tailwind setter here. I think it depends a lot on what my opponent does. I'll bring Zapdos. Let's do Lopunny Zapdos lead. I can fake out into something. I can have a faster fake out than Incineroar. And I can set Tailwind. And I'll bring Tapu Lele. Yeah, that's not great into Mawile, but it's good into the rest of their team. Then I want something good into Mawile. I think I want Blacephalon. It's a little bit iffy when they have Rain, but I think it's more useful here than Greninja. So let's do that. They lead Politoed, Ludicolo, so they get the Swift Swim stuff immediately. But I'm gonna Mega Evolve, fake out Ludicolo. Ludicolo gets fake out. Oh, Ludicolo could fake out Zapdos. I could switch to Tapu Lele instead if I think that they're going to do that. But then that's risky because that creates an opening for them to just attack. But that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to switch Lopunny out to Tapu Lele. No, that doesn't work anyway. They can still fake out Zapdos because it's a flying type. Alright, I'm going to do the first thing I said and hope it works out. They do fake out Zapdos. Their fake out goes first because of the Swift Swim. And then they get a big Scald into Lopunny. A lot of damage. Good thing it didn't burn at least, but this Ludicolo is just putting out too much pressure immediately. I guess the good news is if they attack Lopunny, they're not attacking Blacephalon, but which is more valuable here, Lopunny or Tapu Lele? I'm inclined to say Lopunny because it's faster. It also does more to Mawile. Certainly more to Incineroar. So I'm going to sack, if anything, I'm going to sack Tapu Lele. And I'll set Tailwind here. Maybe I should just... Oh. Okay, no Tailwind. And I didn't just attack with Lopunny. Worst of both worlds. Alright, played this one completely wrong, I guess. But also, that Ludicolo just puts out so much pressure. It's definitely hard for this team to deal with. Honestly, maybe I needed Drampa because it's a Tailwind setter that's not affected by Fake Out. I didn't think about that at preview. I guess here I can Vex Moonblast and Fake Out Ludicolo. Might have Protect. Might not have Protect. Oh, I set the Psychic Terrain myself. Okay, I'm just completely tilted in this game. Hopefully it'll wear off for the next one. I just got completely blown up in those first two turns and thrown off by that. Locked into Moonblast, have to lock into something. Probably Shadow Ball is best. Although then I just lose to Incineroar, but I think anything I do here loses to something, so let's get rid of this Politoed if I can. I don't think locking into Heat Wave is that useful in Rain anyway. We see Rain giving good cover to the Mega Mawile in that way. Get the Shadow Ball drop, knock out the Politoed. No Beast Boost. Also, I didn't check... Oh, of course, I didn't check what stat this Blacephalon boosts, but that was a really rough first game there. Wow. Should boost special attack, if I understand correctly how that works, which is nice with the Choice Scarf. Let's see if I can do better than that. But yeah, maybe I needed Drampa because Drampa would be protected by the Psychic Terrain, unlike Zapdos, because it's not a flying type. Let's try to do better than that, at least. I was not ready for how much pressure Ludicolo would put out in this format. It's still not a bad Swift Swim user in more recent games, but it's not... I'm not used to it being that threatening. Hopefully it doesn't take too long to find an opponent. Hopefully there's a good range of opponents playing too. They're not all actually pretty good at this format. I shouldn't say that. I should want strong opponents, right? So where I always get worried on these streams, when it's taking a while early on to find anyone. Well, we'll do what we can here. We can't do any more than that. Oh, I got a game. Oops, I had clicked away to see if there was chat. Okay, Kangaskhan, Incineroar, Whimsicott, Tapu Koko, Gastrodon, and Kartana. Very scary stuff. I would like to actually set my Tailwind up this time, and I think I have to consider Drampa here, because, I mean, Zapdos should be fine to set Tailwind in front of, like, Kartana, maybe Gastrodon, maybe Whimsicott. Whimsicott with the Encore, though, is a threat, on top of the fake-out Kangaskhan, so I actually think Lele Drampa is the Tailwind combo here. I don't know how important that really is to the team, but I've really zeroed in on that, huh? Drampa is a Tailwind setter that can't be faked out if you give it the right terrain cover. Probably want Lele in the back, so they can't just switch Tapu Koko in to wreck that idea. I could lead Greninja. I could lead Greninja Drampa with Lele in the back. Then I have the option to switch Lele into either slot. I'm not sure that's good. I'm going to do Lopunny, Drampa, Lele, Blacephalon, because I ran out of time to properly figure this out. I don't think I like Blacephalon here, actually. Probably should have brought Zapdos instead, but oh well. I can at least do the thing that I said. Get rid of this Intimidate on Lopunny, bring Tapu Lele in, change the terrain, set Tailwind. They can't fake out Drampa. I guess Lopunny would have a faster fake out than Incineroar anyway, but I might as well get rid of that drop. They could just Dazzling Gleam Drampa. But it doesn't KO. Get that nice... Oh, I don't get that nice Recovery Berry. Not quite low enough. Okay, now I have Tailwind. They don't. I could Psychic Koko. They can't switch Incineroar into that slot because it's already on the field, so that's pretty free, I think. And I can Hyper Voice. Or I can switch Drampa back out to Lopunny. That seems like a decent idea to get some pressure on them, right? Alright, let's do that. Yeah, Koko just drops. The U-turn. The Incineroar is pretty annoying, right? Because it can switch back in and keep intimidating Lopunny. I don't think, even after I Mega Evolve, I mean, it's good. They're just going to come right back in now. Oh, it doesn't. Oh, they're going for their Tailwind. Okay. But even if I Mega Evolve, it is also a little bit awkward. I have to remember not to click Fake Out in my own Psychic Terrain. Even if I Mega Evolve, I don't think Scrappy stops Intimidate in this generation. I'd like to get rid of this Whimsicott if I can. And I brought Blacephalon in the back, which I think is just incorrect here, but I just ran out of time to think about that last slot. I think I'd be a lot comfier with Zapdos, able to click Max Special Attack, Gigavolt, Havoc into Incineroar. They still can't fake out, at least. Let's go for a high jump kick. I really hope it doesn't miss. I guess that's the other risk with this team. High jump kick is kind of a high risk, high reward kind of attack. Okay, 80% at -1. I suppose we take that. We take even more back from that Moonblast, but Whimsicott's gone now. I do not think that crit mattered. They trade Whimsicott for Lele. I'm okay with that. I even... Probably... Okay, Psychic Terrain is going to end. I don't think I can get my Tailwind back up, but... I think what I can do is I can go Drampa, and they can only fake out one slot, so either I get my Tailwind back, or they leave Lopunny free to attack something, which I think might as well be Incineroar. Just to get them down to one Pokemon. No. Probably should attack Kangaskhan, right? Wait, do I just lose to Kangaskhan Sucker Punch anyway? Maybe. Also, I was wrong. Psychic Terrain doesn't quite end yet. This is the last turn. Yeah, okay. I would feel a lot comfier with Zapdos in this position. I'm gonna lock into Heat Wave. Would bet at KO's Incineroar, but we don't get to find out anyway. Alright, well, let's play until I get a win with this team. Got an opponent quickly this time. Charizard, Landorus, Kartana, Tapu Fini, Cresselia, Heatran. I definitely want Zapdos in this one. I think that big... First of all, has good coverage into some of this team, but also I think that big Zed move is massively important. They don't have Fake Out. They are threatening Rock Slide. And also just big Fire-type damage. I think I could do Zapdos Blacephalon lead, though. Blacephalon immediately threatens something and gives cover for Zapdos to click the Tailwind. Because Blacephalon is just so very fast with the Scarf. I'll bring Lopunny. It has issues with Landorus and Cresselia, but maybe can help a teammate remove them with the Fake Tears situationally. And is useful cover into Heatran in particular. And... I don't know what to bring in the last slot. This is a very fun-looking team, but it's just not quite clicking for me. I'll bring Greninja just to keep up the fast offense, but I don't know if that's right. Alright, so it's Landorus, Cresselia. Oh, they could Trick Room. In that case, let's just Hidden Power and Shadow Ball. I was thinking just big attack into Landorus, and that might have been useful. But I don't need it. Zapdos outspeeds and KOs with Hidden Power. And yeah, I didn't set Tailwind. I mean, it doesn't really... Trick Room is a massive problem for me either way, but at least I didn't waste an action setting Tailwind when I could take a KO instead. Oh, I needed to Roar there. I forgot I had Roar. That would have denied the Trick Room. And I could have attacked Landorus with Blacephalon. Oh well. Let's see if I can Zed move this Heatran out of here. Oh, they click their Zed move first. Knock out Zapdos. Not good for me. Misty Terrain. I can get a Fake Out this turn, at least. So let's do that. Not a lot of protects on this team. So I guess that's why it has double Roar, because you really need to be denying the Trick Rooms. And I just did not play that part right. Get rid of Fini. Cresselia is a threat to Lopunny, though, isn't it? I'm going to switch out to Greninja here. Greninja should be able to handle whatever they throw at it this turn, and then it has Protect for next turn. I have a Beast Boost now on Blacephalon. I don't know if they'll let me use it. The one good thing here, it's a really rough position for sure. You can see they didn't even attack the Lopunny slot there. But now on the last turn of Trick Room, I get another Fake Out, and I can protect Greninja. Might have faked out the wrong target. Okay, Icy Wind. We can live with that, I think. And Heatran just protected. Ally Switch. Ally Switch was a thing in Gen 8, but I'm not used to it anymore. Got there. Also missed the high jump kick, so whatever. Like I said, I'm going to play until I win with this team. I guess one silver lining for this team, you really don't want to get into those Trick Room positions. I needed to Roar the Cresselia. That's why this team has double Roar. But the one good thing is this team has so many dynamic offensive threats that the opponent does have to prioritize, make choices as they play out their Trick Room. So it's not always necessarily simple for them, but I'm still in a really bad spot with this team if I let Trick Room go up. Something I have to keep in mind. It's an interesting team for sure. Definitely has a learning curve to it, though. Kind of feels like I can see why it's not... Why there aren't a bunch of teams like this in the samples. Well, hopefully the ladder is active enough to play this out until I get a win with this team and also try the others. That is always the hope. Would be nice when we go back to an old format that's mostly just faded into memory just for 1 month if the ladder were nice and active because people are kind of fascinated by it, but that's not how it tends to go. I mean, even I've still been playing a lot of Reg I because I had something else I was already working on when this went up. But let's just hope we find enough opponents, I guess. If you're watching, hop on the ladder yourself. Why not? Why not? What? I could do the same standard as last time, where if I'm waiting 5 minutes for a game, I bail. Don't have to right now. This is the hardest hard Trick Room team I've ever seen in my life, though, so... Will I be able to apply the lessons I've learned? Well, they only have 2 Trick Room setters, Dusclops and Slowbro, unless Muck gets Trick Room, but I don't think it does. Mega Aggron, I guess, is their Mega. I could even roar out a Belly Drum Snorlax, potentially. But yeah, I definitely want to lead with one of my roar users. Let's learn our lesson on that. I think it's Zapdos. I think Gigavolt Havoc into something is also very valuable here. I think Blacephalon has potential to snowball. It's a little bit tricky, right? Because any move that I lock myself into opens up some issues. I think Blacephalon has potential to snowball. I think Tapu Lele has potential to snowball into this team. Maybe. The Muck is a bit of an issue for it. I think leading one of those makes decent sense. Or I could lead Lopunny and also have the Fake Out available turn 1. And I could consider like Fake Out into something, Gigavolt Havoc into Slowbro. Let's lead Lopunny, and I'll bring Blacephalon and Tapu Lele and just try to overwhelm. My opponent DC'd. I really hope they come back. It's Slowbro Muck. I think I'm just gonna Gigavolt Havoc and Fake Out. Just use both of my gimmicks turn 1. I don't think I need to roar this. Am I questioning... So, the reason to Fake Out Slowbro is that I'm questioning that Gigavolt Havoc will one-shot. Am I really questioning that? I'm going to Fake Out Muck. None of this matters if my opponent doesn't come back in the next 20-ish seconds. I really hope they do. In fact, I'm going to stop timer for a little bit and be a little more arbitrary about when they run out of time. But no, I don't know if they're coming back or not. Let's just... turn timer back on. It's not good content if I just sit here for some arbitrary amount of time, is it? Oh, they're back! Oh, turning off the timer actually saved them. Okay, good. We're so back. There's the Fake Out into Muck. That does a lot of damage. There's the Z move into Slowbro. Just one shots. Perfect. Bonk. Let's just double down on getting rid of this Muck, I think. Oh, almost KOing with the high jump kick. The Thunderbolt will close it out even after the berry. The Hammer Arm Lopunny and knock that out. I do have to be alert to the Dusclops. I now cannot roar it out, and I don't have Z move anymore. But it's not Dusclops, it's Aggron. Okay. I can just Thunderbolt and Shadow Ball that. And if I have to, beat Conk with Tapu Lele in the back. Big Shadow Ball. No Beast Boost, but don't need it. That one-shot Zapdos. But like I said, this is the hardest hard Trick Room team I've ever seen. It just can't keep up without Trick Room. So just clicking my Z move turn 1 and getting rid of the setter pays off, and I finally got a win with this team. Fun, hyper-offensive team, definitely more of a learning curve than I realized at first. Tricky one to use. Let's move on to something else. Mega Scizor team with Belly Drum, Extreme Speed, Linoone. That's the main thing that caught my eye. Mega Scizor is alright. It's not one of the more interesting Mega forms. This one's got a Sword Stance set. A lot of physical setup offense right away here between those two Pokemon. Then we've got Rage Powder, Volcarona, also sets Tailwind. Makes sense, gives good cover to those two. We got Clefairy supporting them. We got Z-Move, Calm Mind, Tapu Fini. Alright, so a lot of setup offense on this team, supported by two different redirectors, one of which is Clefairy, great for supporting setup offense. And then we've got Assault Vest and Incineroar, also lending support. Another team that is probably not as straightforward as it looks, but should be fun. I definitely want to get that Linoone going if I can. And it has Gluttony too, like a Snorlax, so just like Snorlax, it'll use Belly Drum and then get the Figgy Berry immediately and all the massive recovery that comes with that. But unlike Snorlax, then it gets that +2 priority extreme speed with Stab and all. Let's see what this can do. I like that Linoone is in the first slot in the actual paste. Said move Tapu Fini, I'm sure, is good for opening holes for both Linoone and Scizor to sweep through, so that makes sense as a compliment to them. And of course, it also denies opponent's status with Misty Surge. So that's a nice little bit of synergy there. I think Tapu Fini is a really solid support, or it should be a really solid complementary piece. Also being a setup special attacker to go with the Scizor and the Linoone. But yeah, clears out some of those fire types and rock types and whatnot, and prevents Will-O-Wisps. Teamed by Alberto Lara, by the way. So as always, here's hoping for an opponent nice and soon. Sooner the better. There we go. Tapu Koko. Mega Salamence, presumably. Snorlax, Incineroar, Gastrodon, Kartana. We're familiar with these Pokemon by now. They're a scary group. But if I can get Linoone set up, then there's still a few problems, but it should be able to do a lot. Especially if I can bait out the Mega from the Salamence, but I don't know. Incineroar should be very helpful into their Incineroar plus Kartana. Maybe Salamence, depending on its set. Tapu Fini ought to help into Salamence. Clefairy ought to... Clefairy, Scizor, those all ought to give good cover into Salamence. This team has a lot for Salamence, actually, beyond the Linoone. It's the first game with this team. I'm just going to try to set Linoone up and go. That's probably not really how I'm supposed to play it, but... Oops. I want Incineroar. So then, do I want Fini or do I want Scizor? I'm sure this is not the most sound mode here, but it's what I want to try in the first game with this team. Just going for it. I'll bring Scizor. It's the Mega. It's a Mega that's not on any of the other sample teams. They have a Gastrodon, so that makes Fini a little bit scarier. Kind of shuts down the Water Z move option. They've intimidated Linoone, but we can clear that up right away. Oh, they could Hyper Voice, though. But at least that means the Salamence doesn't have Intimidate anymore. They just set Tailwind. They might not know what's coming. Do you think they know what's coming? It's Extreme Speed and Follow Me. Oh, that doesn't quite KO Salamence. I guess it's still a Linoone. It's not the strongest thing, but Salamence will be knocked out by its own double-edged recoil after that. Sacred Sword is enough to pick up Clefairy. I'm sure they were hoping to hit Linoone with that, but it's still just fine for them. But now I get Incineroar. It is actually tricky, right? Because I can fake something out. I think it's going to be Kartana. Yeah, I can fake out Kartana, Extreme Speed, Tapu Koko, and then protect through the last turn of their Tailwind if I want. But maybe the real thing is just that Linoone has effectively taken 2 KOs now. The Salamence kind of KO'd itself, but you get what I mean. And now I can just beat Kartana with Incineroar and Scizor. I don't need the Linoone to beat everything on their whole team. I'll protect now, though. Cover for something like a protect on the Snorlax. I'll switch out to Scizor to preserve Incineroar to beat Kartana in the endgame. What does Snorlax do? Belly Drum. Uh-oh. Pretty scary stuff. But now I can... if it still had its berry, I could Bug Bite and consume the berry myself. But instead, I get double priority. Don't even need it. Snorlax just drops from full HP to that extreme speed. That's the power of Linoone. And now I get Incineroar back in. I can fake out and Swords Dance. And then Flare Blitz, Bug Bite. And even though that's Kartana with this crazy high attack stat, it doesn't quite knock out Incineroar, but it wouldn't matter if it did because +2 Bug Bite just drops it anyway. Alright, that was a really fun first game with this team. Let's get at least a couple more. That Linoone went crazy. Extreme Speed Belly Drum Linoone is such a funny set from the olden days. Celesteela kind of hard counters it though, huh? Well, I guess that's what Incineroar and Volcarona and maybe even Tapu Fini are here for. This person's Mega is Manectric. That's actually pretty scary too. It gets Intimidate once it's Mega evolved. I would like +6 Linoone to just knock out a Snorlax again, but this could be tricky. My opponent is double Intimidate. They have Celesteela. They have Trapping. Let's lead Linoone Volcarona this time. I can redirect with Rage Powder, or I can overheat Celesteela. I'll bring Fini. I think I leave the Incineroar behind this time. I think I bring Fini and Scizor. And does that give me enough for Manectric? Probably not. Actually, this team is pretty Manectric weak. And I think my opponent identified that. The good news is, if they Mega Evolve right now, it'll be like last game where Linoone gets intimidated, but then immediately goes back up to +6. They do. Of course, they can, after that, switch the Manectric out and intimidate me again. They actually just Volt Switch right away. They must have brought Celesteela, right? Oh, maybe not. Here's Tapu Fini. Linoone's at +6. Is Snorlax going +6? It is. Scary stuff, of course. We've seen a certain interaction already. Hopefully, it's not different for some reason in this game because of a different set by the opponent or something. I guess I'll take the opportunity to set Tailwind if I can. Manectric's back. Oh, it intimidates me. That might change this roll. Yeah, Snorlax survives. Not great. Recycles, gets its berry back. That means it didn't attack this turn. I have another opportunity. It doesn't take this extreme speed now. And I can overheat the Manectric slot, or I can just Rage Powder again. Landorus comes in. Would have been nice to overheat that slot. They are cycling Intimidates now, but Snorlax is still in range of +4 extreme speed. They get another Intimidate now, but I've gotten rid of their Snorlax at least. They don't actually go Manectric yet. They go Fini. I think Fini is their most threatening Pokemon at this point. No, Manectric is their most threatening Pokemon. I think Fini is more threatening than Landorus. So Extreme Speed that. I'll overheat the Landorus slot. I get the Extreme Speed into Manectric. That's good. That's good. I am afraid of that. That almost one-shots. If I just doubled up with the overheat, I would have knocked it out here. But I should be able to just Bullet Punch Manectric now, right? So that's the biggest threat on their team effectively dealt with. It protects here. But on my last turn of Tailwind, I get the overheated Landorus, except I miss. Earthquake crits Linoone. Wouldn't bet that it mattered. Linoone stopped a little bit short of what I wanted, but now I get Scizor, and like I said, I can Bullet Punch Manectric because the Extreme Speed did so much damage to it. I'll go for another Tailwind. I'll see if I can get it. That might take the KO and Volcarona before that, but it's nice to have if I do. But they're under so much pressure now. Scizor Mega Evolve. I get the Tailwind. Perfect. I also apparently forgot to Mega Evolve Scizor. Don't know what that's about. Swords Dance. If I get a Swords Dance here, I beat everything after that. It might even be worth clicking Rage Powder with Volk. But no, I think Landorus will knock out Volcarona before Feeny moves anyway, so I just need Scizor to take the Muddy Water or whatever it is. Let's just go for that Overheat again. Manectric coming in. Intimidates Scizor. Drops to an Overheat. Scizor now gets a +1. I was hoping for +2, but +1 is still pretty good. I have Tailwind against their Landorus. I have Feeny. Scizor now 0. But I guess I can just Bullet Punch Landorus and Moonblast Feeny. I could Z move the Feeny, but it's resisted, so I don't know if it's valuable. Anyway, I get my crit into them now. They have a Berry, they have Calm Mind. That's actually pretty scary. But Bullet Punch Moonblast, let's see what kind of damage I get from that. It's pretty good damage. They've already used their Berry. +1 Muddy Water still doesn't KO Scizor. They do get the accuracy drop, but I think they drop to a Moonblast now anyway. And I land the Bullet Punch, so no need to find out. Alright, this is a fun team. That opponent was a fair bit higher rated than me, too. Linoone goes kind of crazy. Very fun Pokemon for sure. Can't remember how you got Extreme Speed Linoone in game. I think there was some. Oh, that is spam something in chat. Do I have time to deal with it? Do I remember how to deal with it? There we go. Spam bot removed from chat. Any legitimate chatters, feel free to say hi. I think there was some event in game to get Extreme Speed Linoone. It wasn't as simple as it's just a normal move that it learns. There was a lot of fun on these simulators. Excelgor, Tapu Lele, Charizard, Landorus, Mimikyu, Snorlax. Once again, my Belly Drum user is faster than their Belly Drum user. Mimikyu kind of hard counters Linoone, but Mimikyu has issues with Volcarona and Scizor. And Tapu Fini in a way. I'm going to do Linoone, Volcarona, Scizor, Feeny again, I think. I think that's alright. Maybe a little bit weak to Lele. Maybe I need the Assault Vest Incineroar to deal with Lele. And also be helpful into Charizard. Actually, maybe I leave the Scizor behind for this one. Let's do that. See what happens. That means I can't Bullet Punch Mimikyu, but if they get Psychic Terrain up, I can't do that anyway. They lead Landorus, Snorlax. Once again, Linoone gets intimidated. I'm just going to go straight for a Belly Drum. I could get flinched by a Rock Slide or crit by a Rock Slide, but, you know, hopefully not. Considering that threat, maybe I preserve the Volk here instead of clicking Rage Powder. Rock Tomb, but it goes into Volk, so that's good. For the third game in a row, let's just click +6 Extreme Speed into a Snorlax. And I'll switch Volk out to Feeny. That shouldn't mind the Rock Tomb too much. Snorlax protects, fair enough. Oh, you know what I just realized? I can shut down most of my Extreme Speeds with Tapu Lele. I say most because I can still Extreme Speed Landorus because it's a flying type. I'm going to actually switch right back out to Volcarona here. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, they got me with the terrain control there. And with Scizor, I could change the terrain and hit back with Bullet Punch into Feeny, but I don't really have a good Snorlax answer anymore. Really don't have much of a Snorlax answer anymore. Alright, so I think I just lose this one. It was fun to click extreme speed into all those +6 Snorlax, but sooner or later it wasn't going to work out. Yeah. Don't have much for Snorlax anymore. Let's see what my Hydro Vortex does. Oh, they get their Z move first, but it goes into Volcarona. It also doesn't KO. So we'll get my Tailwind here. But I don't think this is knocking out Snorlax. No, not even close. There's Cycle, though. Is there still a chance? I'm going to Rage Powder here. Snorlax can burn itself attacking Volcarona, and I'll click Muddy Water to threaten the Landorus. Miss Muddy Water into Landorus, which was the target I especially wanted to hit. Rock Tomb knocks out Volcarona. And there goes Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini's convictions were just not strong enough in this game. And that's alright, it happens. Let's hop to another team. Extreme Speed Linoone was a lot of fun, though. And of course, you don't have to just lead it and try to do what damage you can right away like that. In fact, that's probably not the optimal way to play it. It just was the first thing that clicked for me. And it seemed like a lot of fun. Oh, hi, Emmy Blushes. Welcome. Doing alright? Banned one spam bot before you showed up. Good to see legitimate chat messages. We've done Mega Lopunny and Mega Scizor. Mega Lopunny, I lost like 3 games in a row to start the stream. That team has a learning curve for sure. But I got 1 win before I moved on. Mega Scizor, had a lot of fun just blasting through things with Extreme Speed Linoone. I should probably play a game actually where I don't lead Linoone, right? Let's at least try another mode with this team. Fair enough. I Emmy then. Alright, I'm committing to not leading Linoone in this game, but I will bring it in the back, even though it's hard countered by Celesteela. So what do I want to do then? Try to set up Scizor in the lead spot? That would be nice, except there's the Charizard. I could do Clefairy, Tapu Fini. That looks pretty strong. Linoone. Do I want Scizor? It's bad into Celesteela, it's bad into Charizard, it's not great into Landorus. On the other hand, what else? Let's bring Scizor. See what the opponent comes up with. Alright, Fini and Clefairy against Charizard and Landorus. So this is kind of what I was hoping for. Good lead position for Fini. Might even just click Helping Hand and Muddy Water instead of going for the Calm Mind here. The Calm Mind could be valuable though. But I don't know, my opponent is just giving me such a nice opening. Unless it's Solar Beam Charizard about to blast my Fini out of here, which I didn't really properly account for. Earthquake and Solar Beam. Okay, but we survived thanks to the Friend Guard. Miss Muddy Water into Charizard. Don't do great damage into Landorus thanks to Friend Guard. Okay. There's one silly thing I might be able to do here. They go for another Solar Beam, but they don't have much reason to do that. But I may yet have a way to get Scizor in. I didn't bring my Tailwind, which is looking questionable against a fast offensive team like this. Well, somewhat fast. Nope, don't get the Encore. Now I just don't have Linoone set up, and I need it to extreme speed through things to stay in the game. Oh well. Maybe I get some kind of crazy crit. Nope. Crit wouldn't have done it anyway. Alright, well, that was what happened when I didn't lead Linoone. Just as well, I guess, to play a team that I'm picking up for the first time in a very straightforward way. Now we know. What's next? Mega Mawile? Alright, let's see the paste. It's Perish Trap. It's Assault Vest Ludicolo. It's probably very like the Mega Mawile team that I lost to at the beginning of stream. Though I can see that it's not exactly the same. That one had Tapu Koko, and this one has Gracium Zed, Tapu Bulu, Woodhammer, Hornleech, Stone Edge, Protect. A little scary. A lot of inaccurate attacks running around on some of these teams. I wonder whether players were less averse to that back then, or it's just that that was what was needed to do the damage that you needed in this format. Probably the latter, right? Pokemon players at the highest competitive levels have been doing the math very seriously for a long time now, and had been already when this was current gen. Gothitelle is Helping Hand, Heal Pulse, Protect, and Trick Room. Its Terra type doesn't exist because we're not playing Generation 9 here. Incineroar, Flare Blitz, Knockoff, Snarl, and Fake Out with an Argwolf Berry. Just realized I tend to unquestioningly believe in the Wolf Glick theory that on a Perish Trap team. There we go. Exactly that, Emmy. The Wolfie VGC theory that on a Perish Trap team, every Pokemon should have Protect. So it's interesting to me that two of these don't. Incineroar and Ludicolo. Ludicolo, of course, cannot because it has an Assault Vest. But we saw Ludicolo put out a lot of offensive pressure in the first game of the stream. It kind of just swept me, so... And then Mega Mawile hits very hard. Well, it does hit very hard, and it gets cover into its fire weakness from the rain, but also I see this one is running Iron Defense. It's not like Body Press exists in this generation. I guess the Iron Defense is just there to make it sit on the field longer, and then you have Heal Pulse Gothitelle to keep it healthy. You have Grassy Surge Tapu Bulu. Incineroar with Snarl helps weaken special damage. So there are a few different ways this team can play then, right? Politoed can enable Ludicolo to do fast offense. Tapu Bulu can also hit very hard. Or you have the Perish Trap option, or you have the Mawile sits on the field for a long time and hits hard and is hard to remove option. That's all very interesting. Not sure what's going to click for me here. I certainly will. Where's Protect Ludicolo? Yeah. Well, with the Assault Vest, it's just not an option. I'll certainly keep the nickname on the Ludicolo because the creator seems to have really wanted that there. I think this is the same opponent again with the Excelgor Mimikyu team. If not, Wild that someone else has the same team. Is this a sample team actually? It was Charizard Y, right? Oh, it is a sample. James Beck, Roanoke Regional. I'm not gonna look at it though. It's fine. Okay, so if it's Charizard Y, then that means if I set Rain immediately, they can just Mega Evolve and undo it. That also means it's massively threatening into Mawile and Tapu Bulu. It's good incentive to bring Incineroar in this game. I could do something like lead Incineroar Ludicolo, because they are kind of weak to Ludicolo. A lot, I think, comes down to weather control in this game. They're kind of weak to Ludicolo if they don't get weather control. So I could do Ludicolo, Incineroar, Politoed. Honestly, I could think about Gothitelle, because the other thing about Gothitelle is it prevents the Charizard from, at least for a little while, from switching out and getting weather control back. So let's do that. Ludicolo, Incineroar, Politoed, Gothitelle. That's probably not exactly right. This is a pretty complex team, but there's a lot of upside to it for sure. Now, the tricky thing here is, if the Charizard Mega Evolves, I want to switch Politoed in immediately. If the Charizard doesn't Mega Evolve, I don't want to switch Politoed in. I'm just going to switch Politoed and Gothitelle both in, and we'll see if this... It's a fun play if it... Oh, no, wait. I can't do that. Mega Evolution goes after switches, so actually I just need to see it Mega Evolve first. In that case, let's Ice Beam Landorus and Fake Out Charizard. I switch out to Tapu Fini. Okay. Well, just as well that I didn't bring Politoed in. The U-turn. Who's taking this Ice Beam? Snorlax. Not a great start. Pretty bad start, actually. If I go Politoed now, at least I can Encore the Snorlax. Unless it's Snarl or Knockoff into Feeny. Either one I think is good. And by Feeny, I mean Lele. Let's just Snarl. They still have to actually Mega Evolve Charizard to get rid of the rain, so it's at least a little bit more involved than just like switching a Torkoal in. And yeah, now I can lock Snorlax into Belly Drum, or if it protects, I can lock it into that. And actually, it might be in my best interest here to switch Gothitelle in and even go for the Perish Trap. Maybe? Down to try it. There's Landorus. Snorlax is stuck clicking Belly Drum. Yeah, see, I still have to remove the Snorlax. And I think the way to do that is with Perish Song. Let's protect here. They try to U-turn. Okay, so I'm not going to be able to trap the Landorus. What I can... But trapping the Snorlax I think is the most important thing. What I can do is Scald. Strong attack, rain boosted, burn chance. Nobody wants to come in on that, not even Lele. And I can just Helping Hand. They U-turn out. They do pretty good damage to Gothitelle there, but... I'm getting a boosted Scald. Twice boosted. Rain and Helping Hand boosted Scald into something here. Did I not click Helping Hand? Oh, I did. Okay. It just went out earlier. Yeah, Feeny takes... Or, why do I keep doing that? Lele takes a lot from that. Psychic Terrain wears off here. That's very convenient. Lele also can't switch out. I do need to Encore Snorlax again. Do I? I think so. And I might as well protect Gothitelle. Shadow Ball Gothitelle. Snorlax still can't attack. Snorlax will take something out here, but I think it's worth preserving Politoed at least. I think Politoed is valuable in the end game. I think I want to preserve Ludicolo, because Politoed and Ludicolo can kind of sweep once Snorlax is removed. So I think I will sack... I think I'll let Gothitelle go down to the Perish Song. And I'll potentially sack Incineroar here. Although, hey, I'll take a Heal Pulse into Incineroar if I get the chance. Why not? Shadow Ball into Gothitelle doesn't KO, but the Perish Song will KO. Incineroar actually gets back to full. Snorlax gets to click Belly Drum again, but all that just to perish this turn. Perish Trap did the most important thing it could do in this game, and that was get rid of Snorlax. The Weather War isn't over yet because the Charizard still hasn't Mega Evolved. This is still a little bit awkward. I'll go Ludicolo here. That way I can switch Politoed in. Get Rain. I don't have spread damage on Ludicolo. So I think actually the best thing I can do with Ludicolo here... I think the best thing I can do here might be Fake Out... Fake Out what? This is still really hard, actually. Fake Out Landorus. Does that work? With the Assault Vest, it probably does. Fake Out Landorus, Scald Lele. Landorus protected. Lele goes first, but it's into the Assault Vest. It does get the drop. Not ideal. Lele goes down here. Now, again, they can Mega Evolve Charizard, and the fact that I don't have Protect on Ludicolo is a bit of a liability. I'm going to Snarl to weaken the Charizard. Switch Ludicolo out to Politoed. I might have preferred, actually, that Incineroar be knocked out earlier. They go their Z move here, but it's into Incineroar. The bad news is now I can't switch around anymore, which actually is what the value of keeping Incineroar was. Now they can Mega Evolve and turn off the rain. But I don't know if they can win from there. Let's Ice Beam Landorus. Oh, They get the speed control advantage too, though. That way. Let's double into Landorus here. Yeah, all that to try to set up my Swift Swim. Actually, still faster than Landorus, so we do just drop it with an Ice Beam. Solar Beam takes out Politoed. I do unfortunately think Ludicolo loses to Charizard from here. Also, my timer is nuts. Yeah. Alright. That was a mind bender, and I didn't figure it out properly in the end. The Incineroar was really awkwardly positioned toward the late part of that game, but also they just did well by saving their Mega Evolution for so late. That was really hard for me to deal with, actually, because so much came down to weather control in that game. I guess if I brought Tapu Bulu or Mawile, either one of those, I would have had another way to remove Snorlax besides Perish Trapping it. That would have changed the game quite a bit. But then those are both very weak into Charizard, except Bulu. Again, Bulu gets cover in Rain and can hit with a Stone Edge, but keeping Rain up in the right position was really difficult in that game. And Mawile is very bad into Charizard. What are Mawile's attacks? I guess Rock Slide. Okay, both of them can knock Charizard out, but they have to take a hit from it first, I think. So there probably was a better way to play that. I mean, there must have been, right? It's surely not an unwinnable matchup. And I would have had another way to remove the Snorlax if I had brought either of these two. But anyway, that was an interesting game for sure. Would have preferred it turned out differently, but what can you do? Perish Trap is hard to use. A lot to take away, so the result is quite good anyways. Yeah, I agree. Perish Trap is very difficult to play, but very interesting. I always feel like it's kind of expanding my brain when I use it, because it kind of forces you to think about the game in a very different way from what you're used to otherwise. Are there unwinnable matchups in Pokemon? Theoretically, yes. In practical terms, probably not. But there are matchups that are very heavily slanted one way or the other. Very good team builders, which all of these teams come from. These are all teams that did well in tournaments that I'm using from these samples. Very good team builders will cover what matchups they can, but it's pretty rare that you can cover absolutely everything. There are judgment calls that players make in terms of what they think they're likely to see at a tournament or just what they're comfortable playing. And of course, I don't have a step-by-step guide to the game plans of every player who made one of these teams. I just have the team, and I have to try to figure it out as I go. So they might have some fairly elaborate game plans that they practiced and flowcharted and understand very well deep down, but that I'm not going to understand just playing a few games in an afternoon with these. But to your question, unwinnable matchups theoretically exist in practical terms if you're using a reasonably well-constructed team. Very, very rare if they happen at all. But you will find some that are advantageous and some that are very disadvantageous. Sometimes it's an uphill battle. Hopefully it doesn't take too long. It's never yet taken too terribly long to find an opponent today. I think there are a decent number of people on the ladder for what this ladder is. There we go. I have a Nihilego. I haven't faced one of those in a bit. Incineroar, Nihilego, Charizard, Snorlax, Tapu Lele, Kartana. Some of these Pokemon are getting very familiar at this point. Also, I like my opponent's username. Well, I mostly like my opponent's username. This doesn't really work in Canadian English. So, minus a point for that. Comfy and EZ to wear. Hard to say what that's supposed to mean. Okay. This could be another Charizard Y. Is this a sample team? There was a Nihilego somewhere in here. I think it looks like either of those, though. Could be Charizard Y. I've learned at this point to expect Charizard Y if I don't know that it's Charizard X. So, weather control is an issue. Maybe I need to be less dependent on it, but it's really hard because Charizard is so powerful into Mawile and Tapu Bulu, which are my other offensive pieces. If I could Perish Trap Charizard, that's something, but my last opponent did very well at avoiding that. Incineroar is helpful into Charizard. Probably want to bring Incineroar again. I'm going to try something a little bit different, though. I'm going to bring Mawile. It's good into not only Snorlax, but also... I guess I'll do this. It's good at... Okay, not bringing the trap then, just the Perish. It's good into not only Snorlax, but also Nihilego and Tapu Lele. Pretty bad into Charizard, though. This turn is always so tricky, because if I Mega Evolve and Rock Slide, I can switch Politoed in. But if they Mega Evolve, they just turn the rain off after that. So I am gonna Mega Evolve and Rock Slide, but I'm gonna click Fake Out into Charizard. We'll see what that does for me. They protect Charizard. They don't Mega Evolve. Makes sense. I'm not even sure that was really worth doing. I'm a little bit out of position now. Because again, I can switch Politoed in, but if they Mega Evolve this turn, I'm just gonna go for it anyway. I'm tired of these. I'm tired of these Charizard mind games. If they don't Mega Evolve this turn, then Mawile is pretty well positioned in the short term, at least. They didn't Mega Evolve. Don't burn me. They didn't burn me. What's the Z move? Continental Crush into Politoed. Doesn't KO. That's good. That preserves the ability to set Rain back up later. But also, I do just knock out Charizard here. I guess that's... I mean, I'm sure this is a nightmare mind game in high-level tournament play, but maybe on the ladder, that's what I need to be doing. Not expecting them to Mega Evolve their Charizard at just the right moment because they know. Because they don't always know. Let's get Mawile out of here. Let's protect Politoed for now. I would like to bring Ludicolo in. It's a little bit tricky on this Nihilego. Actually, I could probably switch both of my Pokemon here. I don't think they're going to click Poison Attack into Mawile. And it is Assault Vest Ludicolo, as previously mentioned. And I can get Intimidated into their Incineroar and get Fake Out Pressure back on the board. Plus, I do probably still want to preserve Politoed for the endgame. I can maybe Perish Song even without the trap. And I can maybe set Rain back up just if it's, you know, ended naturally. I have a pretty free Scald into Nihilego here. If they switch Incineroar in, that's fine. They could Tailwind with Kartana. Let's just fake it out. Kartana doesn't have much special defense, so I might be able to just Ice Beam it after this. Except they're going to go Incineroar and they have Fake Out Pressure back into me. Whoops. Maybe I was better off clicking Flare Blitz into Kartana before Incineroar got intimidated. Mawile is probably not that useful anymore. I actually might be able to sack it. I don't know. I have to beat Kartana somehow. I also have to beat their Incineroar somehow. I'm going to double switch again. That feels really silly, but my instinct is I want to preserve Ludicolo and Incineroar beyond this turn. Okay. They get their Beast Boost. I might have let their Kartana run away with this game. We see at least how the rain lets Mawile hang around a bit longer. Ludicolo at least gets out of Fake Out Pressure there. But for what? Guess I'll try to get rid of their Incineroar. Can't Fake Out right now. Probably doesn't have Protect. And the hope then is that my Incineroar can beat Kartana. Although if they have Sacred Sword, I don't know. If Kartana has already taken another KO, then after Intimidate it's still a +1. I guess the other... well, yeah, then I just worry that it KOs Incineroar. I guess what I can do, if I get rid of their Incineroar here, is I can bring my Incineroar in, Fake Out the Kartana, get another attack into it, or at least have another Pokemon available so that Incineroar doesn't have to solo it. But I could still lose this for sure. Protect, and knocked out by Scald. Okay, the Kartana not attacking this turn is very good, I think. I could even think about switching Incineroar in. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. And I'll just look for... actually, I'll just protect Mawile this turn. I can slow this down a little bit. Not let Kartana take a KO immediately, unless it read the Incineroar switch in, which it might have done. That was probably the worst thing that could happen there. Get some chip into it at least. I just need to press my Pokemon advantage. I mean, that Play Rough did good damage. If I get either this Flare Blitz or this Play Rough, I'm probably fine because it just can't knock my Pokemon out quickly enough. I have to land my hits too, which with Play Rough is a little iffy. Yeah, it does knock out Incineroar there, but it should. If I land this Play Rough, that's another 40%. 44. Okay. Their out here is to knock out Ludicolo and dodge Play Rough. And it could happen. But I just attack with both my Pokemon and hope it works out. It is massively in my favor, but sometimes things don't work out. They actually just detect this turn. That doesn't really do anything for them. But, yeah, who knows what they're going for with that. They do knock out Ludicolo, which was definitely the right play for them, but I do land the Play Rough. It's, what, 90% accurate? So, 9 times out of 10, I won that end game. And this was one of those times. That is a big rating mismatch. I've taken a lot of losses this stream. I'm in the 1200s. I don't think you can see that. Just jumped pretty high within the 1200s from beating this opponent. But, yeah, that was good. The Kartana was a threat to run away with it, but just getting it to that end game. I like how Ludicolo and Rain, something in Rain, my water types in Rain were able to pin the Nihilego Incineroar slot. So I could get rid of the rest of the team pretty quickly and isolate the Kartana. And then I just had too many Pokemon for it to sweep through them before they knocked it out. Of course, a lot came down to the Charizard not Mega Evolving on that specific turn, but that worked out too. Let's get at least one more with this team. I would like to not run into a Charizard Y. The Charizard, I've had enough Charizard Y mind games, I think. This one has a Masquerain. That gets Intimidate. It gets probably Tailwind. I don't know what else it's doing here. It's also a Mega Swampert team, so they've got their own Swift Swim. It's pretty scary, but it's very weak to Ludicolo Energy Ball, of course. But they have Pelipper, Hurricane to give it cover. They also have their own Ludicolo. They also have Tornadus. This is a strong rain team. I might be better off clicking Trick Room with Gothitelle, but then, of course, Aegislash takes advantage of that. This is tricky. I feel like I want Gothitelle. I feel like I want Incineroar. I might want Tapu Bulu. Maybe not. It's bad into a lot of their team. I haven't brought it to a game yet, have I? I also have not found a matchup where I'm comfortable trying to set up Mawile and let that sit on the field and be tanky for a long time. Not into Mega Charizard Y, and probably not into this either. This is really tough. Let's do Incineroar, Ludicolo. They might set up Rain for me. I can fake out Pelipper turn 1. Let's do Gothitelle, and let's do Politoed. I'm not bringing a whole lot of damage to this game. We'll see if I get punished for that. They lead Tornadus, Ludicolo. That's awkward. They can just Tailwind. But there's no Covert Cloak in this game, so they at least can't be carrying that. They could fake out with Ludicolo, but if they do that, at least they're not doing something else. Let's just try to attack the Tornadus. They don't fake... okay, yeah, they don't fake out. I said that too soon, but it did turn out to be true. That Ice Beam doesn't do a whole lot, though. Put it mildly. Preserve Incineroar. And let's still try to get rid of this Tornadus. The fact that they have Tailwind and I don't is extra scary, but they tried to set Rain there. Burn Tornadus with the Scald. How much damage does Burn do in this game? Would have been nice if that had KO'd there. Oh well. I'm just going to click attacks because I don't have a better idea, but they can set their Tailwind here and then I'm in danger. But they don't? Zed move. Okay, that also puts me in danger. How do I beat their Ludicolo now? Honestly, with Perish Trap, and that's really... That is going to be rough to try to actually pull off. But it starts with Protect and Trick Room, I think. Because I need Politoed to actually execute the Perish Song. And not just be knocked out by Giga Drain first. Actually, after that, I can Heal Pulse Politoed, right? I can Perish Song. Heal Pulse? No point protecting until I actually have the song. This is a tricky situation to be using Perish Trap, and of course I'm only doing it because I only brought one good damage dealing Pokemon and I let it get knocked out early, so this is all pretty scuffed, but you know, I'm using what I've got. We'll just protect here. Then probably I want to heal Pulse Politoed again. Oh, they might knock out Gothitelle though. Maybe I need to be trying to get Incineroar in somehow. Too late now, though. Yeah, actually, I think it would be better. Oh, but they Hydro Pumped the Politoed slot, so they covered for Incineroar switching in. That wouldn't have worked out anyway. Rain is over. They can miss their Hurricane now, and the Hydro Pump won't hit as hard. I don't think there's any value in clicking Encore. Is there? I can at least deny Giga Drain from the Ludicolo, and that helps Politoed survive. Which I might need, because I think I'd actually rather go for a double protect on Gothitelle here instead of another Heal Pulse. Okay, Gothitelle guaranteed getting through this turn. They miss a Hurricane into Politoed. We take those for sure. I can only preserve one of my Pokemon, and I think it's Politoed. I think I need Politoed to beat whatever they have in the back if I'm going to win this. Gothitelle is just not able to do damage. So I do have to let Gothitelle go down to the Perish Song here. I'll click Heal Pulse into Incineroar. So I have a better chance against something like Aegislash in the back, if that's what it is. Yeah, Gothitelle's work is done at this point. They Hydro Pump Gothitelle, it doesn't KO. They set Tailwind with Pelipper. That makes sense with the Trick Room ending. These two Pokemon go down, so does Gothitelle. I have Incineroar and Politoed left against Swampert. Okay. That is kind of what I was hoping to see, I think. It kind of just wrecks, and actually, it just kind of Earthquakes through my team, doesn't it? But for now, at least, I can try to Fake Out and Scald. Obviously, it protects through that. Alright. Would have been nice to get another Heal Pulse into Politoed, but didn't think I could risk letting Gothitelle go down. All I can do is attack this thing now. I'm sure it has Earthquake. It's a Swampert, and they have 3 flying types on their team. Pair it with. Yeah. But it doesn't actually knock anything out. Politoed gets its Ayapapa berry, so it probably takes another Earthquake after this. We get a Scald, no burn. Do half. No protect. No protecting because Incineroar doesn't know it. Best, I think, to just attack with both Pokemon. Incineroar goes down anyway. Maybe protecting Politoed is better, but I want a Scald Burn. I don't get one. I think that's unlucky at this point. Also think my only out is double protect to get out of the rain. I think if you click Scald twice into the same target and you don't get a burn, that's the odds letting you down a little bit. I think it's close, but I think it's slightly favored to get a burn off of 2 consecutive Scalds. But what can you do? Burning Swampert would probably have sealed it for me, but if you have to rely on luck, sometimes it doesn't work out. That was a close one, though. Against a scary team. I don't want to move on from this team just yet, because I want to see if I can find a matchup where setting up Mawile to sit on the field for a while makes sense to me. I'll get at least one more. This person has 4 Pokemon, and yeah, I think Mawile can sit on the field against these. Porygon Z is probably the scariest. But I'll lead it with Incineroar. I get intimidated to Beedrill immediately. I can Snarl Porygon Z. I'll bring Bulu. Because Bulu is definitely part of the Mawile tanky mode, right? Setting up the grassy terrain to help it sit on the field. Also just realized grassy terrain weakens opposing Earthquakes. Might have been useful into that Swampert, but I'm not sure where I had room to bring Bulu there. But also, that is all the more ways that this team covers Mawile's weaknesses. And you know what? I don't want Flare Blitz and Incineroar blitzing into Mawile, so I'll bring Politoed to cover for that. But yeah, actually, it's hard to find a matchup where it makes sense to me. I mean, this is a really silly team for my opponent's part, but get the double Intimidate into them immediately. I'm just going to Mega Evolve, Iron Defense, Snarl. They could Fake Out, actually. They do. That's fine. Zed move Porygon Zed. Zed conversion. Turns it into an electric type. I don't think that's the end of the world. What was I saying? Yeah, but actually quite a lot of this team is engineered to keep Mawile on the field for a while. If you do set it up properly. I did nothing at all to cover for that, so that's an example of not setting it up properly. Mawile at least could get an attack off now if it weren't paralyzed, but oh well. Yeah, you got the Politoed weakening. Mawile is what? Only weak to fire and ground? Politoed weakens incoming fire attacks with the rain. Bulu weakens earthquake specifically with... probably should have gone Bulu here, actually. Bulu weakens earthquake specifically with Grassy Surge. Then Gothitelle has Heal Pulse. And also it can just trap weakened targets on the field so they can't switch out and reset their drops or anything like that. You have Intimidate on Mawile itself. You have Intimidate on Incineroar. You have Snarl on Incineroar. Alright, that's a lot of special attack drops on Porygon Zed. Let's go Bulu here. Doesn't do much. I thought it might paralyze again, but no. Honestly, I'm not going to get a better use for my Zed move than removing this Clefable. Let's just Bloom Doom that. Knock off this. I know I can't knock off its item because it's a Zed Crystal. Oh, they go Incineroar. They get an Intimidate. Still, this is Grassy Terrain boosted. Off of Woodhammer. Yeah, KOs. The Mega Beedrill is a problem, obviously, though. Might just lose to Mega Beedrill. There it is. Poison Jab and a Bulu. I am out of rain now, so I guess what I do here is probably... I can stack Poly... I can't switch Politoed in without bringing the rain back. I guess what I do here is just Stone Edge and Flare Blitz. They probably knock out Bulu. Yeah, maybe I needed to preserve Bulu for the Porygon, actually. But again, switching Politoed in makes the Flare Blitz not so useful. Kind of a double-edged sword there. But I do think I just lose to the Porygon now. Well, this was a very silly game. Oh, Politoed tanks that Thunderbolt. But it doesn't KO Incineroar back. There's no way, right? I'm trying to think of some way that I've missed to pull this back, but I don't see one. Politoed will still just drop to a Thunderbolt, and that'll be that. Maybe if I get a double protect and knock out the Porygon here. No. Okay. Well, that's enough of this team, I think. Perish Trap is fun. Like I said, I feel like I feel like I'm becoming a smarter player when I use it because it forces me to think about the game in unusual ways, but it sure is hard to use. And the Mega Mawile was never felt very comfy for me, even though so much of this team is set up to support it. What's next? Mega Abomasnow? Sure. Why not? Team by Ben Grismer. Snow Warning, Blizzard, Energy Ball, Ice Shard, Protect. Looks like a lot of fun. We got Araquanid, Water Zed move Araquanid. It also has Substitute, which is interesting. Scarf Braviary with Defiant. I like the look of that with so much Intimidate in this format. Another Incineroar. This Incineroar knows Superpower. I wonder what that's for. I don't know off the top of my head. Porygon 2 for the Trick Room setter. Thunderbolt, Foul Play, Recover Trick Room. And another Zed move user actually in Tapu Koko. Thunderbolt, Dazzling Gleam, Volt Switch, Protect, Electrum, Zed. So you have a couple of fast offensive pieces, Braviary, Tapu Koko. They could complement each other pretty well, I think. Your opponent uses Landorus to try to shut down Tapu Koko. They give an Intimidate into Defiant boost to Braviary. That makes a lot of sense to me. But I'm mostly interested in the Porygon 2, Mega Abomasnow, Araquanid, Trick Room stuff. So let's see what we can do with that. Fakey Zygro. Why? What's up? I'm sorry. I can't always. I have one monitor. I can't always be looking at chat. I don't know what you're referring to there. Oh, hey, what's up? Okay, got it. Welcome. I thought you were questioning something I'd already said, and I couldn't think of what that could be. Hello. Autocorrect is stupid these days. Yeah, I am not sure why I still use it at this point. I swear it used to be more useful than it is now. But it does all kinds of strange things now. It's taking a little bit of time to find an opponent, but so far it hasn't been too bad today, so I'm not worried. After Mega Abomasnow, we got Mega Latias, I think, is what this one is. Mega Blaziken. And then maybe some others that I didn't get to last time. We'll see. I haven't really given any thought to how long I want to go here. Hasn't been super long yet, has it? What team am I using? I'm bouncing around between the sample teams. Right now I'm just going in order through this list labeled Other Mega Evolutions. So we're on Mega Abomasnow right now. Tried Lopunny. Pretty hard to use. Tried Scizor. Very fun team. Tried Mawile. Mixed bag. Now Mega Abomasnow. We got Tapu Fini, Tyranitar, Gengar. Presumably they're Mega. Kartana, Incineroar, Landorus. I think setting up Trick Room into this could be pretty strong, but they do have a way to control weather. Turn off my snow. Sorry, hail. It's hail in this game. Turn off my hail. They have 2 Intimidate users as well, so Scarf Braviary looks great as a lead into this. With probably not Coco, actually. I could do Porygon 2. Foul Play and Thunderbolt things before I'm ready to set Trick Room. That feels a little silly, but I am actually going to try it. Braviary, Porygon 2, Abomasnow, Araquanid. Do what damage I can with Braviary and then look to get the Trick Room up. It's a little simplistic, but should be fun. Let's just click. Brave Bird is good into most of their team, just not Tyranitar. I could Superpower, but I don't think I want to. Let's just click Return into the Incineroar slot. They'll probably fake that out anyway. Actually, let's go into the Fini slot. I have more ways to deal with Incineroar later than I do. It's a mixed bag, actually. Fini is scary, though, because it can be a setup Pokemon. Let's just double target the Fini slot. They fake out the Porygon 2, probably trying to deny a Trick Room that I didn't go for immediately. I crit Fini with the +1 Brave Bird. That's unfortunate for my opponent. There's Tyranitar. Honestly, at this point, I might as well, I think, Brave Bird the Incineroar and go for Trick Room. and try to win with my 2 Trick Room attackers in the back. Maybe I should have tried to KO Incineroar first, but they are really focused on Porygon too, trying to get rid of that. They knock out Braviary here anyway, so I'll get somebody in for free. I don't get the Trick Room up. That's pretty unfortunate for me. I do not like either of these Pokemon into Tyranitar when Tyranitar has the speed advantage, but not much to be done about that. I'll just go Abomasnow. I'll get the Hail. I'll throw off a Blizzard. Still try to get that Trick Room. That is a really unfortunate flinch, but game shouldn't be over yet. How long I've been playing VGC? I picked up a VGC format for the first time in 2020. I don't remember exactly what part of that year, but I watched a bunch of Wolf Glick while I was shut in at home and wanted to try it out myself. I started going to events in 2023, which, what with the pandemic going on, was about the earliest that I was willing to travel like that again. Yeah, I was kind of afraid of the Tyranitar. Didn't knock it out, though. That's rough. Gengar knock out Abomasnow here. Yeah, alright, Araquanid, it's all you. At least the hail damage picks up Tyranitar, but I would have preferred regular damage do that. Incineroar's low, though. I do have to get past the fake out here. But Araquanid might sweep after that. Have to watch out for Gengar carrying Protect, potentially. I actually was I was watching a lot of Wolf Glick before the pandemic, but not his VGC content, just his other content, like his singles draft league stuff. That was the Wolf content I was watching. And then in 2020, I was kind of bored, and I thought maybe I should check out what else this guy does, you know, his main thing. I think I have to go for the Gengar here, because otherwise it can attack, protect, attack again, and win. Okay, good. Didn't protect. Yeah, so only in 2020 I checked out his actual main thing. Went with his head move for style points. And then I went, wait, this is actually really fun. I never thought I would be interested in it, but actually I love this. This thing that I thought might not be very good is actually very good. And 2023, I went to a regional and NAIC. 2024 did the same thing. There's another regional. Well, yeah. Doesn't match the calendar years. It works out for the seasons. 2024, I did the same thing. This season, only one regional in Toronto. Next season, probably more of the same, but we'll see. Probably only the Toronto regional again, but I'll see if I can make it to something else. How do I beat Metagross with this team? Anybody know? How do I beat a Amoonguss with this team? Maybe that's what substitute on Araquanid is for, actually. Oh, I also have Electric Terrain. Try this variation. They also have a Tyranitar. I didn't even really process that. Let's just do what damage I can to it and go for the Trick Room. Not bad damage. Guess they thought I'd attack Zapdos. Now I get +1 terrain boosted Thunderbolt to throw at the Tyranitar. Wrong Pokemon. I'll Volt Switch Zapdos, try to get somebody in. I want to get rid of Tyranitar, of course, because it can change the weather, which is not what Mega Abomasnow wants. Be dealing with. Not the end of the world, though, I guess. I do want this Blizzard into Zapdos here. And I can still put some pressure on this slot with a Thunderbolt. Are they leaving Tyranitar in? Oh, they Mega Evolved after my... Okay, so they get Weather Control. But just this once, if I can pivot Abomasnow out and back in, I get Weather Control again. Paralyzing Incineroar is interesting. It has the chance to not move, but I've also made it slower while I'm playing Trick Room. I'm gonna go Araquanid here. That threatens their Incineroar, and again, I can bring Abomasnow back in. Potentially. Well, definitely. Potentially that would be useful. Tapu Fini is actually pretty scary. I only have special attackers, other than Araquanid, which isn't really a threat to Tapu Fini. But good news is Porygon's still at +1. I still have Tapu Koko in the back, so I can set my Electric Terrain back up. And once the Trick Room wears off, which is about to do, Koko outspeeds Fini. Probably want to get the Trick Room back up, though, at this point. What I can do, I think, is... Araquanid is not that useful anymore. I'll just throw an attack at Zapdos and go Trick Room. I was thinking about making a play, switching Koko in, but I don't think I need to. Also, this Zapdos is just spamming Roost like every turn, so not really putting out the pressure that it's probably supposed to. That's just all it does. Maybe it would be nice if I still had my Gigavolt Havoc available to throw at this Fini, but let's see what a Terrain Boosted Thunderbolt does. A lot of damage, and a para. Lucky me. That's what, 2 Thunderbolt paras in this game? And that one's into a full para? That is really unfortunate for my opponent there. They forfeit? Yeah, fair enough. With that luck, I don't blame them. Never did get Abomasnow back on the field, but I still had that available. Get at least one more with this team. Then I'll probably take a small break, like a little bathroom break, refill my water glass. And then it's whatever the next team is on the list. Here's some Politoed Ludicolo stuff again. I'm pretty sure I've played this opponent at least a couple of times in this stream. I would like to see what this team can do against an opponent who doesn't have weather. So maybe I hold out for that before I change teams, but I don't know how likely it is to that I run into an opponent with no weather. Anyway, this team doesn't want to have to deal with Trick Room. And actually, Tapu Koko can kind of threaten it immediately. Next to Porygon too, so I'm just going to do this stuff again. They also can power up Araquanid with the rain, so the weather control thing is a mixed bag. Or kind of a double-edged sword for both sides, if you prefer that metaphor. Psychic Seed Zapdos, that's interesting. That's very strong and bulky. Just get some chip on stuff. Get Tapu Koko knocked out immediately. They set Tailwind. I set Trick Room. Let's go Abomasnow. They can change the weather if they brought Politoed. The good news is I can threaten Politoed with a Thunderbolt. If it happens to switch into that slot. Maybe because they want to get damage out from the Lele. They actually don't switch it in at all. The Zapdos takes up Blizzard really well with the Seed boost. And Heat Wave's back. That is... Well, it's in range now. But they could have Bullet Punch on Metagross. I think I just have to hope they don't. No Bullet Punch so far, and I clicked Foul Play into Metagross. I bet that KOs. Foul Play, of course, uses the target's attack stat. Metagross is a very high attack stat and is weak to Dark. Here's Landorus, here's Tapu Lele. They just forfeit. That was a nice quick one. I guess I sort of saw what happens when the opponent doesn't have weather control because they didn't bring their weather control. Abomasnow did not amazing damage. Less than half into, admittedly, +1 special defense Zapdos, but it was enough damage. And of course, with Blizzard, you have the spread damage quality, and you always have that freeze chance as well. That makes Blizzard very valuable. I'm gonna play at least 1 or 2 more with this team just to see if I get an opponent with no weather on their team, and Abomasnow can just go to town. If I'm moving the mouse in a crazy way, it's because my display is a little weird. Don't worry about it. This opponent has no weather, no visible weather at least. This opponent has a weird team. I want Tapu Koko, I think, so they can't just click Spore into my stuff. The Raichu makes that a little scary, but at least I can Dazzling Gleam it. The Porygon 2 is tricky because they could reverse my Trick Room. There's a bit of a mind game that goes along with that, but we're just going to bring this pretty typical mode that I've been bringing a lot. They lead their Porygon 2. I'm actually... I'm just going to Protect. I don't have Protect on Porygon 2. Thunderbolt only powers up their Raichu. I don't want to Trick Room because I actually think they might set Trick Room up for me. Alternatively, they could just fake out Porygon 2, but I can't cover for that, so just click Foul Play into Raichu. They fake out Koko. They discharge. Oh, I see what they're doing. Okay. That powers up Raichu with the Lightning Rod. Got it. Well, I hope I get my Trick Room up. Otherwise, I might actually be in danger here. Do get a nice Dazzling Gleam to chip the Raichu. Koko takes a Thunderbolt, so that's good. But the discharge will knock out Koko. Porygon 2 is fully paralyzed. I do have Abomasnow Ice Shard into Raichu here, so I should be fine as far as that goes. I'll still go for my Trick Room. They might be able to reverse it with their Porygon 2, but I don't know if that's the play they're going for. They're so far still just spamming Discharge. Fully paralyzed again. Who's coming in? Lucario. That's pretty bad news for me. I'm just going to switch right out to Araquanid. The good news is Araquanid has some defensive synergy with Abomasnow. They're both weak to Rock. But if Lucario throws out a Steel or Fighting attack, which you would expect because Abomasnow is weak to those and those are its stabs, Araquanid resists those, so that's nice. Yeah, there's a close combat. Doesn't do too much. Lowers its own defenses. I did just switch Araquanid in on a Discharge. Fortunately, they stopped clicking that for now. I'm going to go for my Hydro Vortex into Porygon 2. I also can Thunderbolt it now that Raichu is gone. I still am worried. Oh. Okay, not a great use of my Z move. I was going to say I still am worried about the chance that their Porygon 2 reverses my Trick Room, but at this point, yeah, it might not know Trick Room. Don't love that use of my Z move. I was looking to click that into Porygon 2 instead of Mega Lucario, but it works out just fine. Abomasnow still didn't really cook that hard against an opponent with no weather. Of course, I still had it lurking in the back, able to switch in and do a lot to something like an Amoonguss, which can't Spore Abomasnow because Abomasnow is a grass type and also is weak to the Blizzard, or Landorus, which just gets wiped out by Blizzard. Abomasnow did come in this game and take out the +2 Raichu with an Ice Shard. That's a value priority on a mixed attacker like that. And it did set up a free switch in for Araquanid because Araquanid very nicely covers its Fighting type weakness when something like Lucario comes in. So that was good. I am, going to take a small break. Not sure, Emmy and Fakey's Hygro, not sure you're still here anyway. But a quick little break and then jump to the next team. So how do Twitch streamers put text on the screen? Be nice if I could figure out how to do that. I'm not sure I'm going to right now. All right. Well, a chat message will have to do. I'll be right back. Moment. Alright, break's done. I realized something silly while I was stepping away for a moment, though, which is, as I very often do, I'm using a thumbnail from a video I've already made as the showdown background. But I only realized as I was taking a break that this video isn't out yet. It comes out in a couple hours, so that must have been a little puzzling. Even though I lost the VOD from the stream a week ago, I still... Well, I shouldn't say that still. I did extra work. Because I lost the VOD from the stream a week ago, I played a few more games with each of those teams and made a video of it to go up today. Anyway, who's next? Mega Lottie. Like I said, I've looked at this before. I think it's Latias. Oh, this has a Stack Attack. I haven't used Stack Attack yet. I probably used it in Gen 8 at some point, but not Gen 7. It is Mega Latias. Calm Mind. Psyshock, Icy Wind, Calm Mind, Roost. Interesting. Hard to believe that's very strong in this format, but we'll find out together. Calm Mind, Tapu Fini, and Ayapapa Berry. Swords Dance, Grassy Zed, Kartana, Incineroar. This one has Taunt. Choice Scarf, Therian, Landorus, Earth Power, Stone Edge, Hidden Power, Ice, U-Turn. Max special attack, Modest Nature. 4 attack EVs, but an attack lowering nature. But I bet that Stone Edge and that U-Turn still hit hard because it's a strong physical attacker for this format. The Stack Attack only has 3 moves. Is that really correct? You can't see that because the scene cuts off for you, but it is Rock Slide, Gyro Ball, and Trick Room, and that's it. I'm trying to think about why it would be advantageous for a Pokemon to have only 3 moves. Some weird interaction with Encore? Can't think of anything. It can be advantageous if you're worried about sleep. Like some Terrapagos used to run in Gen 9 used to run only Terra Starstorm and Sleep Talk, just those 2 moves, because then Sleep Talk would always select Terra Starstorm. So there are Sleep Talk interactions where you might want fewer moves, but this Stack Attack doesn't know Sleep Talk. It knows Rock Slide, Gyro Ball, and Trick Room. So to be honest, I strongly suspect that this is just a team sheet error. I think it probably had a 4th move in the actual event that is somehow lost to history. There might be some obscure interaction that I'm forgetting. It's not impossible, I guess. There are a lot of obscure interactions in Pokemon, but I cannot think of any reason for the Stack Attacker to only have 3 moves. Nonetheless, 3 move Stack Attacker is what we're going to try this stream, along with Calm Mind, Mega Latias, and friends. This is more of a fast offensive kind of team with a Trick Room mode available with Stack Attack. But you got Kartana, which is fast. You got... This is at level 100. Why are 2 of these at level 100? Pace is weird. There are probably a couple things wrong with this paste. You got Scarf Landorus. You got Kartana, which is a fast attacker. You got Mega Latias, which is fast and has Icy Wind. But then I guess if the opponent gets the speed control advantage... Mega Latias is not that crazy fast, actually, huh? I don't think it gains any speed when it Mega Evolves. I didn't realize that. If the opponent gets the speed control advantage over you, then Stack Attacker goes crazy in Trick Room. Base 13 speed. Probably not the very lowest in the game, but maybe the lowest that you'll see in competitive play. And then Tapu Fini, I'm sure, can also play well in Trick Room. But this is not as Trick Room focused as that last team was. And even then, I was probably playing that last Trick Room, the Mega Abomasnow team, in a more Trick Room focused way than it necessarily is intended to be played. See how long it takes me to find an opponent. Getting a little tired, to be honest. I'm definitely not used to streaming. It's only been not quite 2 hours, but I don't think this will be a super long one. We'll see. People make fun of streamers for saying that they're busy and work hard. I don't personally. To me, I mean, work is work. Even if it looks like it's easier than other work, and sometimes is. But yeah, I'm not quite at 2 hours yet, and I'm already starting to feel a little bit worn out here. I mean, I'm sure it's a skill that you build up as you stream more, but I definitely have more respect for what streamers do than some parts of the internet. I'll say that. Guess I'm also just a sleepy guy, though. I guess streaming this technically makes me a streamer too, but you know, I mean dedicated full-time ones who go a lot longer than 2 hours a week. I might want to do more of this. I'm open to the idea, at least. I'm starting to explore it. But dedicated full-time streamer, hard to imagine that's coming in my future. Charizard, Venusaur. So this will be Charizard Y to get the Venusaur going turbo fast. A lot of their team wants to go turbo fast. They have Arcanine, they have Naganadel. This probably is my favorite Ultra Beast. We've got Blacephalon and Naganadel in this stream. There's Tapu Koko, there's Arcanine. I said Arcanine already. There's Bisharp. That's not super fast. Stakataka goes pretty crazy into this team, except it can get intimidated, and probably like to have coverage into Bisharp, huh? Coverage into steel types generally. I wonder what its missing move is, if it has a missing move. But hey, who am I to question the sample team? I'm going to use the paste as it was given to me. Tapu Fini will deny Venusaur Sleep Powders into actually just Incineroar and Stakataka, because Latias has Levitate and Landorus is Flying type. Still probably of some value. Tapu Fini also is very weak to Venusaur, of course. But I have Incineroar. Tapu Fini and Incineroar, probably a good complementary duo here. I do have to watch out for Defiant Bisharp. Let's do Fini, Stakataka, Incineroar. Honestly, Latias might be good here. But I'm going to say Cortana. I'm kind of afraid of the Bisharp. Gotta get Mega Latias to a game, though. Mega Latias might have been good here. Tapu Koko is scary to everyone on my team. I think I do want to just switch Fini out to Incineroar here. And I'm just going to go for the Trick Room with Stakataka. It's kind of high risk, high reward. Stakataka, bulkier on the physical side than the special side, and facing two special attackers here. They might be incentivized to try to get rid of Fini. And Stakataka goes crazy if I do get this Trick Room up. There's probably a safer way to play this. But I don't know. Fini is... I mean, especially since Tapu Koko doesn't have its terrain, there's probably a safer way to play this. Hopefully Fini is an attractive target to these attackers, though. Stakataka does go kind of crazy if I get this Trick Room. It's just a not insignificant if. Here's Incineroar. Mega Charizard Y. Thunderbolt into Incineroar. Heat Wave. Misses Incineroar. Hits Stakataka. Would have preferred it miss Stakataka given the choice, but I do have a very threatening Rock Slide now, and I have a Sun boosted Flare Blitz into something. Let's Flare Blitz the Koko slot, and let's Rock Slide. Nobody really wants to come in on this. Even if Bisharp comes in, right? I mean, I've Flare Blitzed the Koko slot specifically. There's some luck. I might be better off Flare Blitzing the Charizard slot, actually, because, yeah, that takes out Charizard anyway. It doesn't matter. They didn't switch anything. Even Bisharp would come in relatively well on the Rock Slide, but wouldn't want to take the Flare Blitz. Here's Naganadel. Here's Arcanine. They do get intimidated into Stakataka. I think it might be worth just Rock Sliding again anyway. Or actually, Gyro Ball probably goes crazy into Naganadel. I'm going to Rock Slide, though, because Naganadel could protect while Arcanine attacks. I don't actually have to make a decision at all. They forfeit. That was a quick one. That's the power of Stakataka right there. That Pokemon's a menace. Surprised it took this long for me to pick up a sample team that uses it. Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir, presumably. Oh, maybe not. They have a Charizard on this team. This is the same opponent I've faced a few times. They're swapping teams too. Amogus, Landorus, Naganadel, Charizard, Hydreigon. Another Naganadel immediately. And yeah, I faced a team with Mega Gardevoir. I think I faced... Oh no, I faced a Venusaur and Charizard team before. Gardevoir and Charizard is interesting on the same team because I think both of those Pokemon really want to Mega Evolve in this format. So if they're bringing one, they're probably not bringing the other, and if they do bring both, that probably puts them at a disadvantage. I believe Stack Attack is slower than Amoonguss. I also can protect it with from Spore. Oh, it's way slower, actually. I also can protect it from Spore with Misty Terrain. Tapu Fini looks really strong into this team. I think I can just throw it at them in a lead spot. Mega Latias looks reasonable into this team. I don't know. It's more of a mixed bag. It's very threatening into some of these Pokemon. I actually think I prefer Kartana, because I can threaten Mega Gardevoir more effectively with that. Well, if Tapu Fini threatens a lot of the rest of their team, I'll bring Latias and I'll bring Stack Attack. I don't know if that's a coherent mode, but it's a fun group of Pokemon. They DC'd. They'll probably be back. They seem pretty serious about laddering right now. Naganadel Charizard is a really rough lead for this duo that I've led with to deal with. Stack Attacka would be nice if I'd led it, but I didn't. Latias ought to be pretty good here. I could probably switch Latias into the Fini slot, but that leaves Kartana open to just being cooked by Charizard, which is not what I want. I could Detect. Maybe do a little bit of maneuvering. Latias, Detect. My opponent has come back with an eye to getting Kartana off the field next turn. There's the Charizard Y. The Sludge Bomb Latias, that actually does quite a bit when Latias hasn't Mega Evolved yet. Latias takes a ton of damage and gets burned. I think I just threw it away for nothing. Let's see. Naganadel can just Draco now, right? I don't have Protect on Latias. What can I do except Roost? And Latias won't even be protected from Dragon attacks by the terrain because it has Levitate. They actually just Tailwind with Naganadel. That's okay. That I can live with. Latias taking those hits better now that it's Mega Evolved. Just Psyshock the Naganadel and hope for the best. You can also maybe scout for Solar Beam Charizard. It's Hidden Power Naganadel. I don't know if that's Ice type or Dragon or what, but it does not click something like a Draco Meteor into Latias. But Latias is way low now, and they do have Solar Beam Charizard. This might be a chance to get Stack Attack in. But then what? It just gets knocked out after that, right? Honestly, though, it might be worth sacking Stack Attacka. Try saying that 10 times fast. Sacking Stack Attacka. Give Fini the chance to attack here. Nope, they Sludge Bomb Fini, knock it out. I thought they would go for the easy target, Latias. I guess they figured the Heat Wave did enough damage. They were probably right. Naganadel's still faster. Both of these are still faster than Kartana. After the Tailwind wears off. I guess I just can't bring Kartana to a game like this. I guess that's the lesson here. That's a shame. It looks strong. It sure is strong into Gardevoir, but I guess Stack Attacka was also strong into Gardevoir. They could miss Heat Wave here. They don't. Alright. I guess I just can't bring Kartana to these Mega Charizard games. I think that's my takeaway. Maybe that's a bit simplistic, but we saw how it went here. Probably Hidden Power Ice. If it was super effective into Latias and neutral into Kartana, it could also be Ghost or Dark, but I don't know what it would be. Interesting, though, running that seemingly instead of your Dragon Stab. I'm sure there's some good metagame reason for it, but I don't know what that is. Landorus, maybe, because Landorus would be a threat to Naganadel. That would seem to make sense. I'll be honest, I don't really get this team. Mega Latias doesn't look to me like it should be terribly strong. I mean, it is a decent special tank in some positions, but we saw how it can be kind of overwhelmed there. Stack Attack is fun, though. I want Mega Latias to be good. I like Latias a lot. Probably fair to call it one of my favorite Pokemon, though not exactly sure how high it would rank. But I'm finding it hard to be a Mega Latias believer. But we'll see in another game or two whether it can make something happen. Ah, here's a Mawile team. Mawile Gothitelle, but no Politoed on this one. Interesting. But this is a Trick Room team for sure. They have a lot of really scary Trick Room pieces, including their own Stakataka. Probably speed ties with mine. At least I'll underspeed their Alolan Marowak, which is an absolute menace otherwise. I also can, actually I can Earth Power both Marowak and Stakataka. Problem, of course, is Trick Room, and the other problem, of course, is Tapu Fini. Is it Taunt Incineroar on this team? It is. I could Taunt Gothitelle, potentially. I think Incineroar Landorus is reasonable lead. The problem is it's weak to Fini. What's not weak to Fini on my team? Kartana? Anyway, we're going to do Incineroar, Landorus, Stakataka, Fini. Leave the Mega Latias behind. Still, I guess, not a believer in the Mega Latias. I don't think Gothitelle gets Fake Out in this generation. So I think I'm good to just Taunt and Earth Power Mawile. Let's go out to Incineroar. That doesn't want to get Earth Powered either. Doesn't do a ton of damage, but this is -1 attack Landorus, and Earthquake would also hit my Incineroar, so you see the advantage of running Earth Power on these. I'm going to knock out the Gothitelle. Knock out, I wish. I'm going to knock off. I could go Fini. No, I can't. I'm trapped. I'm going to knock off the Gothitelle slot now and Earth Power Incineroar again. They'll probably fake something out. They go Fini. Knock off into that isn't the worst thing, although a lot of them run Watery MZ. But for those that don't, like that one, they can now never use that berry. And I think the best thing I can do here is go out to my Fini. I guess I'll taunt their Fini. I don't want to switch stack. I don't think I want to switch Stakataka in this position. I can only switch one. Get the Muddy Water drop into both of my Pokemon. At least they're taunted. I still have a taunt available into Gothitelle here. I can Calm Mind with Fini. It's a little bit slow going, but maybe I can get Fini set up and win with that. My berry hasn't been knocked off. They Muddy Water, but Incineroar survives. I get the taunt into Gothitelle once again, denying a Trick Room. Unfortunately, I'm running out of time to do that because I can't switch Incineroar out as long as Gothitelle is on the field. I'm actually going to Flare Blitz this slot, looking to catch Mawile coming in. They don't switch. I missed the Flare Blitz? That's funny. They're focused on attacking Fini, which makes sense. In that case, will they let me knock out Gothitelle? Incineroar is so tanky, but taking so many accuracy drops, but still breaks through and lands the knockoff, and Gothitelle is gone. I don't have to worry about that setting Trick Room anymore. I guess I know all the Pokemon they brought anyway, and they didn't bring Marowak or Stakataka, so I guess I got a little tunnel vision there. But I can probably don't want to switch Landorus in on a Muddy Water, actually. It would be nice to intimidate the Mawile, but let's click Flare Blitz into Mawile. I think Incineroar will go down first, but I think that's okay. I think I can live with that. Muddy Water ought to do good damage to their stuff here. That did a lot to Mawile. And crit Fini, and got an accuracy drop. They knock out Incineroar. What does their Mawile do? Knocks out my Fini. Not my favorite thing, but I get these two now. And funnily enough, after all that effort to deny the Trick Room, I actually think I want to set it myself. So maybe I got a little bit... Yeah, maybe my tunnel vision into denying the Trick Room there was a little bit silly. I think it's fair to say that it was. Also, I might just lose to their Fini now. But it has to land its attacks. That could be the tricky part for it. Gonna get another Earth Powered Incineroar. I don't think it KOs based on the earlier roll. No, it doesn't. They missed Muddy Water into Stakataka. Perfect. I don't have Protect. I can't avoid a Fake Out. Not over yet. Yeah, there are definitely things that this Stakataka could be doing with that last move slot, huh? But they missed Muddy Water into both of my Pokemon. I get bailed out by luck once again. And Rock Slide here. Deserved win? No, I would not say so. But these things happen, I guess. There were accuracy drops flying around on both sides. What can you do? Maybe you can put a fourth move on your stack attack, though. That would be something to think about. I still want to do something with Mega Latias. I'm going to do that thing I do sometimes. I'm getting another game with this team, and no matter what, I'm bringing Mega Latias. I don't know if I lead with it or it's in the back, but I'm committing to bringing it. Coco. Lando. Insane, Metagross, Mimikyu, Snort. This is a really bad Mega Latias matchup. It just loses to this, it just loses to this, it just loses to this. Honestly, what does Mega Latias do in this format? It's probably one of your best bets to wall a Charizard Y, but we saw it doesn't do that very well with that fire boosted, or that sun boosted Heat Wave. I guess once it was Mega Evolved, it took the Heat Wave reasonably well, but then Charizard Y also has a teammate with it. I don't get Mega Latias on this team. I'm sorry, this player is a lot more accomplished than I am who built this team. This got a top 32 at an NAIC. I really like Latias. I really want it to do well. I don't know what they were cooking putting Latias on this team. I don't know what the vision was. I'm going to bring Latias. Incineroar. No. Latias. Landorus. Beanie. Attack. Okay, we trade Intimidates. But Metagross is clear body because it isn't Mega Evolved yet. Let's Mega Evolve Icy Wind. That's very threatening into their Landorus. It also slows down the Metagross, which I'm going to try to Earth Power. The U-turn Latias, that actually doesn't do too terribly much. I guess Latias is pretty bulky when it's Mega Evolved, and that's not nothing, but it just seems like such a weird, a weirdly placed Pokemon in this meta. Anyway, slowing down their Snorlax is probably actually bad for me. Because I can't just beat it with Stack Attack now. At least I don't think I can. Honestly, maybe I click Rock Slide here without clicking Trick Room. And that's the out. Or maybe I needed Kartana to beat Snorlax. Stack Attack takes that Gigavolt Havoc. Bounces back nicely with its berry. Snorlax is actually still faster. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. It'd be about -2 speed to catch up to. Well, maybe I can Psyshock the Snorlax into a bad spot now. Stack Attack taking a Thunderbolt. What does Snorlax go for? Frustration into Latias. That means I get my Trick Room up. Stack Attack is bulk. Not as good on the special side as on the physical side, but still good enough here, coming through nicely. And now, I guess I'll just Muddy Water and Rock Slide. And hope I have enough damage. Oh, maybe not. No. Well, it is worth a shot. I think that's enough of this team. I mean, clearly this player found something, right? Even if it's just something that they could play well with. Clearly this worked better than anything I've ever tried in a tournament, but I am not sold on the Mega Latias. Great Pokemon overall. Very strong in some ways. Hard to see its place in this meta. We move on to the last one in this other Mega Evolutions list, Mega Blaziken. Pokemon that I'm not as fond of design-wise as some people are, but max attack speed boost seems fun to me. No Swords Dance on this Blaziken, I noticed. In fact, it has Superpower. It weakens itself as it attacks. But just going for big damage with Flare Blitz, Superpower, and Rock Slide. Back to help you get that initial speed boost, I'm sure. We've got Defiant Bisharp with a Focus Sash. Sucker Punch, Assurance. I don't remember how Assurance works. And Iron Head. We've got Zapdos setting Tailwind for the team, which is valuable when you want to go fast like that. We've got Thunderbolt and Heat Wave. We've got Tapu Fini with a Calm Mindset. We're pretty used to that by now. We've got Choice Scarf, Mixed, Landorus. Pretty used to that by now. This one has Sludge Bomb instead of U-Turn. Still max special attack. Max Special Attack Landorus is such a fascinating... Max Special Attack Therian Landorus specifically is such a fascinating innovation in this metagame. But we've seen it make sense plenty into things like Mega Metagross, Incineroar, and opposing Landorus, which you can get with the Ice-type hidden power. And the Z-move user here is Sarina. Power Whip, Feint, Helping Hand, Protect. Feint and Helping Hand. So, okay, it stops priority from hitting Blaziken. And also things like Zapdos and Landorus. Something like that Extreme Speed Linoone is not just able to Extreme Speed through Blaziken, because Sarina will stop it with Queenly Majesty. Sarina also has the Grass-type Z-move, I guess, to knock out things like opposing Tapu Fini that give Blaziken and Landorus a lot of trouble. And then Feint and Helping Hand are how we open holes to make sure this hyper-offensive team... I don't know if hyper-offense is the right word for this one. It's a very offensive team, though, so maybe it is. Make sure this very offensive team gets its offensive work done. Feint, of course, breaking an opponent's Protect. They can't just protect through it. I closed my Showdown tab. Why did I do that? This team won something called the Nashville Open. I don't know what an Open is or was. That's probably something from a different era. But this team won an Open in Nashville. The Nashville Open. So that seems pretty impressive. I just don't know exactly how impressive, but what does it matter? Let's try this one out. Hopefully Blaziken can do some big damage to things. Welcome back, Emmy. Blaziken is definitely not one of my favorite Pokemon. It's fine. I just don't have very strong feelings about it one way or the other, but I am hoping to see it blow some things up in these next few games for sure. If I'm going to use Mega Blaziken, I want to see it put in work. Sarina is a Pokemon I've always found kind of hard to use, but I think I understand the basic synergies with the Grass-type damage and the Feint, so it should be workable here. Gotta get an opponent, of course. Okay, Salamence. Mega Salamence, I'm sure. That seems like a tough opponent for Blaziken. Tapu Koko seems like a tough opponent for Blaziken, not so much after I get my speed boosted. Incineroar, don't love that it can intimidate Blaziken. Gastrodon, don't love that for Blaziken. But they have Snorlax and Kartana, those are more manageable. Actually, Hidden Power Ice Landorus could be pretty good for removing the Salamence, especially with a Choice Scarf. In fact, I think I like leading Blaziken Landorus here. I can Mega Evolve, Protect, get Speed Boost. I wonder why this Blaziken is Blaze before it Mega Evolves instead of having Speed Boost already. But yeah, I can do that, and I can also pivot Blaziken out of an Intimidate and bring it back in later. If I'm doing that, I need something to pivot out to. So Zapdos and Fini become pretty appealing. I think Zapdos is very good here, especially into Kartana. And then I probably want... I mean, Blaziken kind of beats Snorlax already. They don't have Trick Room on this team, at least as far as I can tell. Zapdos gives me my Tailwind. I could bring Sarina to deal with the Gastrodon. I could bring Fini to give me another out to the Salamence. That's pretty weak to Kartana and Gastrodon. I don't love it. It's also not great into Snorlax. I actually think the answer here might be Bisharp. They have 2 Intimidate users, at least before they Mega Evolve. I get the Focus Sash. I'm not really worried about priority with this team. I guess stopping Fake Out with Queenly Majesty is nice, but I think Bisharp is probably the answer here. They lead Koko Gastrodon, Shiny Koko. Very nice. My dream of just clicking Hidden Power into Salamence turn 1 is going to remain just that, a dream. The Gastrodon is immediately pretty scary, actually. Maybe I needed Sarina, but whom to drop to make room for it? Anyway. I would like to just attack Koko but I would like to not just lose Landorus to Gastrodon right away. What is Sludge Bomb for? I mean, it hits Coco super effectively, that's for sure. It's probably for Bulu, actually. I'll go Zapdos. I don't think they're going to Electric Attack the Landorus slot. Switch out to Snorlax. Okay. Ice Beam. The Landorus, which also hits the Zapdos pretty hard. I can just superpower Snorlax here. I don't want to let it set up. Obviously, that leaves Blaziken vulnerable to some things, but... And I still don't have good answers to Gastrodon because I didn't bring Sarina. But that just is what it is, I think. I could go Bisharp. I could switch out to Bisharp next. And at least threaten somewhat more damage into Gastrodon. I could set Tailwind here. I think I will set Tailwind here. I think it's valuable into things like that. That superpower does half. That's not bad. Zed move Gastrodon. Okay, I didn't see that one coming. Goodbye, Blaziken. Probably good. Probably GG, but I hope not. What does Assurance actually do? But power doubles if the target has already taken this damage this turn. Okay, so with this and with Tailwind up, what I could do is Heat Wave with Zapdos and then Assurance into something. And that's probably my best way to remove Gastrodon at this point. This leaves me open to Coco, though. Hopefully the Heat Wave does a lot of damage. Would have liked to do more than that. We get the burn on Gastrodon. That's not really very valuable, but Assurance did a fair bit there. They go Dazzling Gleam instead of Electric Attack, so Bisharp survives. Zapdos survives the Ice Beam. I guess Bisharp was surviving anyway because of the Focus Sash. Heat Wave knocks out Coco now, so I can make the same play again. Yeah. But then what do they have in the back? Snorlax and what else? The good news is if it's Salamence or Incineroar, they give an Intimidate. They give a Defiant boost to Bisharp. So it's a little unfortunate that it's neither of those. And that this is the last turn of Tailwind. I'm just going to Heat Wave. Cortana will probably detect through it, but what can you do? I'm going to Iron Head Snorlax. No, I'm not. I'm going to Assurance Snorlax because of that doubled power after the Heat Wave. Unfortunately, that activates its berry. So it does still get a Belly Drum, but now it doesn't get to recover with its berry. But they do... Cortana will be the fastest Pokemon now. I'm going to Sucker Punch Snorlax and Heat Wave. Snorlax protects. They taking a KO on Bisharp here? No, they're setting Tailwind. But they gave up their Cortana to do that. And Snorlax can only target one of my Pokemon, and Sucker Punch still has priority, so I still think I'm okay here. Snorlax is not going to have a useful spread move. Oh, is it Recycle? Yeah. Actually, it might have been best off setting Tailwind there and then doing Heat Wave or Thunderbolt Assurance stuff. I can go for the Tailwind here if they'll let me. They're still not attacking because I'm clicking Sucker Punch. They Recycle again. But yeah, I can Thunderbolt and Assurance here. But that gives them their berry. But I am putting a lot of offensive pressure still on Snorlax. They take the KO on Zapdos here. But I still have Landorus in the back. I think I might prefer that it not be as largely special Landorus at this point. But I can Iron Head. I even get the flinch chance that comes with that. And I guess I'll Earth Power. I don't want to miss a Stone Edge. Iron Head gets the KO anyway. Alright. That worked out in the end. Blaziken didn't put in as much work as I wanted, but... The Heat Wave plus Assurance stuff in Tailwind was pretty strong. That was fun. I've never done anything like that before. Neat little combo. Assurance is a move that I always kind of overlooked in every game in which it appears. I didn't even really remember what it does. This is a repeat opponent for sure. I liked their funny Pokemon meme username, except that the way they've written it doesn't work in Canadian and English, so minus a point for that. Incineroar, Nihilego, Charizard, Snorlax, Tapu Lele, Cortana, Charizard Y, I think. I think we know that. How do I beat Charizard Y with this team? Setting Tailwind with Zapdos probably helps. Threatening it with Feeny turn 1. No, threatening it with Landorus turn 1, because Feeny is going to be weakened by the sun. It just doesn't hit that hard. Landorus can click Stone Edge into Charizard. Leading Landorus is a little bit one-dimensional, but think Zapdos, Landorus. I want the Tailwind. I think I want Blaziken. Bisharp was very good in the Snorlax. Serena would also be helpful in the Snorlax, but Serena is just in a nightmare scenario against Nihilego and Charizard and Kartana. Stopping Fake Out would be nice, but I think it's Bisharp again. Feeny would be good into some of these. Actually, Feeny kind of loses to Nihilego as well, and it has Kartana issues. It'd be nice into Incineroar. At least Bisharp gets an attack boost from Incineroar switching in on it. That's pretty good too, right? Charizard, Feeny, or I don't know why I keep mixing those two up. I mean, I can think of a reason I could be, but then why don't I mix up Coco and Bulu? Let's not dig too deeply into that one. Tailwind, Stone Edge, Charizard. I led Landorus so that I could just click Stone Edge into Charizard turn 1, and I hope they let me get away with it, and they do. Sort of. I guess it's Scarf Feeny. Do land the Stone Edge. That crit definitely didn't matter. Landorus did just take that Scarf Psychic, so that's good. And I get my Tailwind. Charizard being gone creates openings for Bisharp and Blaziken. That's why that was so important. Probably best to just... Actually, I could switch Bisharp in pretty freely here if the Feeny is choiced. So I can preserve Landorus. I'll Thunderbolt the Feeny slot, see what comes in. I'm not too afraid of Nihilego. I think Bisharp just beats it. They didn't switch. They just Psychic Zapdos. They Trick Room. Nihilego gets Trick Room. I don't think I knew that. Well, that changes things. The good news is Feeny is really not a threat right now. Or, I swear I'm not doing it on purpose. Lele is not a threat right now to Bisharp. It is a threat to Zapdos, but it is a threat to Zapdos. I don't think I need to preserve Zapdos. But I'll Roost if they let me. What do they have in the back? Well, one of these three. Lele is just going to knock out Zapdos. I'm just going to Heat Wave. I can catch Kartana switching in potentially. Nihilego just goes for its Z move. Continental Crush. That knocks out Zapdos. I don't get to catch... Oh, no, they attack Bisharp. It doesn't KO. Thank you, Steel typing. I do get the Heat Wave into Kartana. I missed Nihilego, but I cared more about hitting Kartana. Problem now is I can't Sucker Punch Nihilego because the Psychic Terrain is up. And Lele can switch moves now. But we're starting to get somewhere with this. I'm in a really awkward spot because I don't have Protect on Zapdos. I do have Protect on Bisharp. I basically just need to stall out the rest of the Trick Room, is the thing. They do attack Bisharp there. They also KO Zapdos. That crit definitely didn't matter. They also lock Lele into Psychic for the rest of the game. So Bisharp always beats Lele if I can just get rid of Nihilego. 2 turns of Trick Room left. I'm going to go Blaziken here. Mega Evolve. Protect. I don't have Tailwind anymore. I think I can just attack Nihilego here. Flare Blitz so I don't miss. Like I could with a Rock Slide. So I sack Landorus here. Bisharp always beats Feeny. Yeah, just trying to use their Scarf against them here. Nihilego knocks out... I swear I'm not doing it on purpose. Bisharp always beats Lele. Nihilego knocks out Landorus, but Blaziken knocks out Nihilego, and that was the key to the game. Losing Blaziken right after that is fine. Bisharp goes first in Trick Room anyway. I guess I always could just click Iron Head into the Lele because it was going to be faster in Trick Room. But it doesn't matter. Still worked out just fine there. Using their own Choice Scarf against them, even after they flip the tables on my Tailwind with their Trick Room Nihilego. A lot of tricky speed control interactions in that game, but worked out fine in the end. And Blaziken didn't get to put in a ton of work, but the one thing it did was the key to winning the game at the end there. So we take those. Still like to see it do more. Here's another Charizard. This ladder's full of Charizard. And they all set the sun when they Mega Evolve. Landorus, Heatran, Cresselia, Feeny, Kartana. Scary team. I'd still like to try to do something with Sarina, but so many Pokemon are so hostile to Sarina, right? It's good into Feeny. Having a Z move at least is nice into Cresselia. What does it do in any of the rest of these? They don't even have a fake out for me to stop. Rock Slide Blaziken could be useful against Charizard and friends. Can't be intimidated by Landorus. I think Blaziken's still good here. I think I have to watch out for Cresselia. But I think I can do Blaziken Bisharp. Feeny is able to at least switch in on some of their threats. Give Bisharp some cover to come back later in the game. And I probably want Zapdos to help deal with their Feeny and Kartana. Give me a little bit more room to pivot around, a little bit more defensive synergy. Let's try playing more like that. There's Heatran, there's Feeny. Kind of feels like I'm caught out of position again, but what can you do? You can just switch out both of your Pokemon, I suppose. That's what you can do. Calm Mind. My Grass-type Z move would clean that up pretty nicely, but it's just so hard to bring that here. I can set my own Calm Mind. Tailwind. Just so hard to bring that into Heatran, Kartana, Charizard, Landorus. I have Toxic Heatran. I haven't seen that in a little bit, but I guess it's not shocking. Let's get what damage I can on this Feeny. Miss the Muddy Water. Landing it into Heatran matters a bit more. Of course, I can't Toxic my Feeny because Misty Terrain is up, but I can wear it down with the Earth Power. Misty Terrain, of course, not protecting Zapdos because it's a flying type. That interaction is coming up surprisingly often on this ladder. Get rid of Heatran there. Get an accuracy drop into their Feeny, which could be valuable. Let's be honest. Hacks is hacks, but sometimes that's what you need. There's the Charizard. I still have Tailwind. They just protect through this turn. I thought about going for another Calm Mind on Feeny there, and I guess I should have. Oh well. I'll Tailwind again if they'll let me, but I don't think they will. They have Tailwind on Charizard. Okay, so they do let me get my Tailwind, but they also have theirs, so it only does me so much good. Also, oh, Heatran's gone. I don't have to worry about Toxic anymore. I was going to say the Misty Terrain is over. At least since we both have Tailwind up, I can go Blaziken and threaten a Rock Slide into Charizard. First, I have to Mega Evolve and get a Speed Boost, but that's fine. If they have Landorus in the back, then... Or honestly, Cresselia. Either one gets pretty rough for different reasons. They burn my Feeny. That's chip damage when it's already consumed the berry. That's not great. The Moonblast did decent chip to their Feeny, though. And yeah, now I just think I just Moonblast and Rock Slide. They switch to Landorus. They get an Intimidate into Blaziken. They can Moonblast Blaziken unless my Moonblast knocks them out first. It does. Okay, that's big. That's gaming. That's gaming. I don't know. Sometimes when you make content, you just say stuff, you know. I'm just gonna go for it. Muddy Water, Rock Slide. They protect. I could get a flinch on Landorus. That would be very, very valuable here. Or I could just knock it out with this Muddy Water. Or it could miss its attack after an accuracy drop. They land Earthquake into Blaziken. That's GG. Alright. I guess protecting Blaziken there would have been safer, but... They really found room for Tailwind and Protect on this Charizard. Wow. Can't argue with the result, I guess. They could have missed their attacks. It was still technically winnable, but I would have needed a lot of luck. But GG to them. That was fun. I'm going to get another one with this team. Blaziken is still falling just a little bit short of what... Blaziken has put in important work in some of these games, but it's not sweeping, and I'd like to see it sweep. That might be too much to ask in this format. I also still like to get Sarina to a game, but it's so hard to find a matchup where it seems to me to make sense compared to the alternatives. Oh, let's get an opponent, see what happens. Need an opponent. And then we can try one more time to give Blaziken its due. Anyone in chat to help pass the time? No obligation, of course. But hey, if you're lurking, good time to say hi. I'll be paying less attention to chat when I'm in a game. And I'm in a game. Oh, it's the Mega Swampert team again. I think this is the same opponent from earlier, although I don't remember them having a Hawlucha. That's scary. Tapu Fini is useful into this. I was going to say it goes crazy into this, but that's not really true, is it? This is like the worst matchup for Mega Blaziken. I don't think I can even bring it. I can bring Zapdos, though. Go for Tailwind, threaten their Tornadus. I can bring Fini. I can bring Fini. It doesn't really beat the whole team by itself. Ludicolo is a threat. I guess this is where I bring Serena. Although Serena has a lot of issues with a lot of their team, but I need something for Ludicolo and Swampert. And honestly, Sucker Punch Bisharp is worth thinking about here. Also, King Shield Aegislash I think would give me Defiant boosts. I'm going to bring Bisharp. I'm going to leave behind my Ground type and my Fire type against all this. But this is a scary team for sure. It was last time I ran into it, and so it is again. Tailwind. Kind of wanted to switch out to Serena, but then Tornadus just threatens that, right? Maybe I can get away with Calm Mind here. They might just fake out something, but if they do that, then they're not attacking with Ludicolo. If they fake out Zapdos, then Fini gets the Calm Mind pretty freely, except it doesn't because they have Taunt on Tornadus. Probably should have realized that one. They might try to set up Rain here. That's how they played this last time. So I'll take the boosted Muddy Water into Torn if they give it to me. Oh, they can taunt Zapdos. I'm not clicking Tailwind. I'm clicking Thunderbolt into Torn. And I'll Moonblast, actually. Zed, Power, Supersonic Sky Strike into Zapdos. That was a crit, by the way. That didn't do a whole lot. We get rid of Torn without them setting Tailwind. They do a lot back to Zapdos. Well, they consume its berry. These berries are so strong. Here's Pelipper. Maybe that has Tailwind and Torn doesn't. I don't think I've ever seen them click Tailwind with Torn. I'll still go for my Tailwind if I can. I don't get to. They forfeit. I don't know why they forfeited. I was still pretty worried about that Ludicolo. That still seemed pretty hard to deal with, but maybe they calculated that they couldn't deny my Tailwind and then the Ludicolo would lose its advantage. That seems like a pretty early forfeit to me. I'll go for another one. Incineroar, oh, it's comfy and EZ to wear again. These teams are looking pretty familiar at this point. Might be time to slow down. Although I want to get through all the Mega Pokemon on the sample teams list. So after Blaziken, there's still Metagross, Gardevoir. No, did I do Gardevoir? I don't think so. Metagross, Gardevoir, Tyranitar. And then I'll have done all the ones. There's also a team here with a Mega Venusaur on it. Alright, so a little bit more to go to get through everything I wanted. That's not really true. I also wanted to try building my own team, but maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll find another time to do that before the month is over. It's possible. We know now that it's Trick Room Nihilego. In fact, I've played this opponent with this exact team already, haven't I? That's annoying. I don't know. Let's just do this. Last time I went hard for the Stone Edge into Charizard turn 1. Maybe I wanted to do that this time. But I figured they'd anticipate it. Gonna go for my Tailwind. I know it's Trick Room Nihilego, but if I can preserve Bisharp, then I can threaten it with an Iron Head if it tries to set that up. They get their Tailwind with Charizard. I think this Charizard might not have coverage for Feeny. Something has to give in its move list, right? If it's running Protect and Tailwind. I thought they might Flare Blitz Zapdos there to deny my Tailwind, but they don't. Who's coming in? Nihilego? Nihilego would be pretty bad. I'm out of position against Nihilego because the Charizard pressuring Bisharp out. That makes a lot of sense, right? The way this team is constructed. Nihilego is in a really interesting spot in the meta as a Rock and Poison type that apparently gets Trick Room, but also can be fast, beating a lot of threats, but it loses to Steel types like Bisharp, has a lot of trouble with those. And what am I going to do here? Yeah, okay. But Charizard is a nightmare for those to deal with. I guess here I can go Bisharp, Protect, Mega Evolve, Protect, get a speed boost, Rock Slide. But the Kartana is a massive threat now behind a substitute. They made sure they have Flamethrower and Heat Wave and Tailwind. This Charizard's nuts. I mean, it's very strong, clearly. I'm not saying it's a bad idea, I'm just saying it's nuts. But they made sure to get rid of Zapdos so I couldn't Heat Wave the Kartana. That makes it a lot harder to deal with, even though I have Blaziken. There's Incin, that gets an Intimidate into Blaziken. At least it powers up Bisharp. But now they get Fake Out Pressure. And they can Flare Blitz Bisharp. But I have Tailwind and they don't. I think I have to aggressively target the Incineroar. On the off chance that it doesn't Fake Out. Which is not great, because it's another turn I'm not targeting Kartana and I'm just letting it do what it wants. But they just... Substitute Kartana, I can understand why it's on this team. It's just so very strong when it has partners that put out a lot of pressure like this. There's Lele. Okay, that'll get knocked out at least. That's something. That's progress. Leaf Blade into Bisharp does a fair bit. Can't take a ton of those. And they get Charizard back now, if they want, or Incineroar. They boost Bisharp further. I can protect around... Oh, I don't have to. They have Psychic Terrain. I don't... The Fake Out is not an issue here. Flare Blitz is an issue. I'm going to Sucker Punch, try to break the Kartana's sub, and Flare Blitz Kartana. They don't attack. Smart. Is it Tailwind? It's just another sub. That's really well done by them. But they don't Flare Blitz Bisharp. They U-turn. They get Charizard back in. I'm going to Sucker Punch and Rock Slide Charizard. I'm at -2 attack, but Rock Slide still hurts. They switch it out. They're still boosting Bisharp, but Kartana is still a threat to Bisharp, obviously. That's not going to break their sub. That's not going to do a lot to Incineroar either. They have Sacred Sword. Of course they do. And Bisharp's gone. They position this well. I just don't think I beat Kartana now. If I do, it probably goes something like this. I can also never get rid of the Intimidate drops on Blaziken now. So I have +4 speed, but for what? Thanks for tuning in, Emmy. Thanks for the well wishes. You have a good day from here. Or night, whatever your time zone is. I don't know how much longer I'll go here. I'm getting kind of tired. I want to get through the rest of the Megas, though, that are available in the sample teams. So this is definitely the last Mega Blaziken game. Yeah, that's just free for them. And they get Charizard back. I guess I Rock Slide, because maybe I can knock out Charizard with a crit or something, and maybe I can flinch Kartana. I should have known they were doing that. And they detect anyway. 77 attack stat. That is sad. They have a free substitute here if they just fake out Blaziken. Well, we're seeing the power of substitute Kartana here. What a nightmare. Rock Slide does so little now. Alright, that's enough of that. What's left? We've gotten through this whole list. I can see why these teams have not been iterated on a bunch in other teams that made the samples. Although I really liked the Mega Scizor one. The Mega Mawile one I think I was mostly losing with, but it was pretty fun. The Mega Abomasnow one was pretty fun as well. So, certainly not all bad down here. I've not yet done Mega Metagross, Mega Gardevoir, Mega Tyranitar, or this one team here that has Mega Charizard X and Mega Venusaur. We'll save that for last. That's the first one to cut if I just get too tired of this. People love Gardevoir. Let's get a Gardevoir team. What do I like at face value here? This one has Naganadel and Breloom. Breloom and Feeny seems like an odd duo, but just to be mindful of the anti-synergy, I guess. Hyper Voice, Psyshock, Trick Room, Protect. Calm Mind, Feeny. Mixed, Scarf, Landorus. This one not running max special attack. It has Rock Tomb. Okay. Incineroar. Breloom, Mach Punch, Bullet Seed, Spore, Protect with Technician. That's interesting. So the Mach Punch and the Bullet Seed will hit extra hard. And it's Firium Zed Naganadel with Sludge Bomb, Heat Wave, Substitute, and Protect. Not sure I see how all these pieces fit together, but definitely down to give Mega Gardevoir a try. I guess Naganadel helps to clear out, and Breloom, and Incineroar, and Landorus all help to clear out the steel types that give Gardevoir and sometimes Feeny some trouble. Gardevoir, yeah, it can cover for Naganadel's weaknesses in some ways. That makes sense. Substitute Naganadel, you got Fake Out Pressure, you got Spore. I sort of see some of the vision here. But as always, it'll take some gameplay to get a little bit more of it, and it would take multiple serious practice sessions to figure the whole thing out, I'm sure. Or just to chat with the creator. Who made this one? Ben Kiriakou? Alright, Kangaskhan, Braviary, Zapdos, Feeny, Kartana, and Landorus. So I want to be careful about intimidating Braviary, because that'll give it a Defiant boost. Breloom could be very strong here into things like Kartana and Kangaskhan. It's also very weak into most of what else they have. I'm sure Bullet Seed hits Feeny very hard. Naganadel could actually go pretty crazy here. I do have to watch out for the Landorus. Feeny Naganadel might not be a bad lead. Or Landorus Naganadel. But then I'm going to have to watch out for the Defiant Braviary. Let's do Feeny, Naganadel, Gardevoir. And then I probably should bring Incineroar. But I'll bring Breloom because it's interesting. Okay, Kangaskhan Braviary lead. I was at least smart enough not to lead Intimidate into that. Kangaskhan Mega Evolving immediately, why wouldn't it? I don't even have a Ghost type on my team. They go for the Fake Out into Naganadel, they set Tailwind. This is where it might be nice to have Incineroar to intimidate the Kangaskhan, but I don't, so I'll just go for damage into it, I suppose. Wipe out Naganadel with a Double Edge. But again, if I switch Incineroar in, then I'm boosting Braviary. I can Mach Punch Kangaskhan now. And then lose Breloom to Braviary. I think they want to get rid of Breloom here. I think they also, want to protect Kangaskhan. A Supersonic Sky Strike into Breloom, so it hits through the Protect. It actually knocks Breloom down to its Sash through the Protect. That's crazy damage. I wish I had a better idea than just Mach Punching the Kangaskhan slot here. Actually, deny it with Sucker Punch anyway, but what was I going to do? Switch Gardevoir in? At least I get a +1 Muddy Water into these Pokemon here. It does not knock Kangaskhan out. It gives a Defiant boost to Braviary thanks to the accuracy drop. Tailwind is gone, but honestly, what is that doing for me at this point? I might just need Braviary to miss an attack. Maybe I need to look for a way to set Trick Room, but I didn't really see how I could do that. I think I just need Braviary, or I'll go for the, or I'll Protect now. I guess I just need Braviary to miss a Brave Bird into Feeny here. Yeah, they try to Sucker Punch Gardevoir. I actually could have gone for Trick Room there. And I would have gotten it, and then I would have the Pixelate Hyper Voice ready to go. Maybe it's not too late. They could still miss a Brave Bird here. They switch out to Landorus. Gardevoir copied Defiant. I do get the Trick Room actually pretty much for free. Time to start clicking that Hyper Voice. See if Gardevoir can just overpower everything from here. U-turn doesn't do too terribly much back. Tapu Fini is probably the end of the line for me, though. Also, they get Fake Out available here, so I have to do this. And then they can Sucker Punch Gardevoir. All right, well, and they get that. I could crit if I survive the Sucker Punch. They protect Moonblast. Makes sense. They even get the drop. Well, there wasn't much chance that Gardevoir was sweeping through everything. Can't say I didn't try, though. Also, that Feeny was slower than Gardevoir. Well, let's get another one with this team. I might start team hopping more quickly now, though, because I'm definitely getting worn out and probably a little tilted. Not tilted, but like making bad decisions because tired. I have no idea how to pace myself when the showdown gameplay is what I'm streaming. That's something to think about if I do more of this. I'll probably build in some breaks more organically instead of just like taking one when I really need it and getting back on the grind. I don't know. Definitely a lot of room for improvement if I'm going to stream more. And that is still an if. But I'm interested in the idea at least. Let's get an opponent. Also, yeah, bringing in Incineroar to that game. It would be tricky with the Braviary there, but it also just loses to their Feeny. Okay, maybe it wouldn't have been that helpful. Oh well. Hope the ladder isn't dead. Where are you? Comfy and EZ to where? Or that other one I keep running into, N04 or something. Where are you, folks? Well, we'll give it a bit more time. I would at least like to try Metagross, Gardevoir, Tyranitar. This person is a Malamar. Feeny, Raichu, Charizard, Braviary. At this point, all Charizard are Mega Y until proven otherwise. Malamar and Landorus. Feels not impossible that this is Mega X, but I mean, I keep running into Mega Y. Does seem like the better one. It's the one I enjoyed using more, so that's my guess. Is Trick Room good into this? Kinda. If I play more proactively toward it, they have Defiant and Contrary on this team. Makes Incineroar and Landorus pretty dangerous. Also, what's Malamar's speed? Probably pretty slow, right? I'm gonna try leading Gardevoir this time with Naganadel. Naganadel can threaten things immediately. Gardevoir can go for Trick Room. I can bring Breloom and Fini to take advantage and leave both of my Intimidate users behind. It's Raichu and Braviary. I get Lightning Rod on Gardevoir. That's kind of not bad, actually, before it Mega Evolves. I'm going to cover Gardevoir against a Fake Out, but I think Naganadel can afford to just try to attack. Maybe break a Sash on Raichu. Maybe burn Braviary if I'm really lucky. Miss Raichu. No burn. They set Tailwind. I'm just going to Mega and Trick Room. Encore Raichu. I see. Alright, what am I doing? What am I bringing in for Gardevoir? I guess Fini, because it feels less valuable in the late game. Especially if I Sludge Bomb the Raichu here. They go straight for their Z move with Raichu. Gigavolt Havoc into Fini. Don't love that for me, but I think better that than it hitting Gardevoir. As I can Trick Room here, probably. This is another rough one, huh? I just don't know how to use this team well, I think is very, very fair to say. Volt Tackle. I wonder that Gigavolt Havoc hit so hard, huh? But they didn't double up on Gardevoir. I don't know why. I definitely think that's what they should have done. So Breloom protecting gets through that turn. I think Hyper Voice just KOs everything here, but I guess we'll just Bullet Seed this slot as a little bit of extra insurance. But yeah, Hyper Voice takes those out. I still have a strong attacker in Breloom with some complementary coverage next to Gardevoir. But they both just kind of lose to Charizard, huh? But I can Spore it. That's how I don't lose to Charizard. I can Spore it. It is Charizard Y. Landorus protects. That's really good for me. I get the Spore to Charizard pretty freely. I can Spore Landorus now and Psyshock Charizard instead of doing Fairy type damage into it. And then after that, a Hyper Voice will KO. One turn left of Trick Room, but Landorus is asleep. Is it going to protect? Let's just Bullet Seed and Breloom's Sash is still intact, by the way. Bullet Seed, Hyper Voice, Landorus wakes up immediately. But this will KO Charizard. Breloom still has the Sash. I have a pretty free Spore into Landorus here and protect on Gardevoir. Earthquake. It's not going to knock Breloom down to the Sash anyway. Now, Bullet Seed, Trick Room. It went for Protect, but it didn't wake up. I only got 2 hits with the Bullet Seed. No loaded dice in this game. Single target Hyper Voice to go with the... Okay, it protects, sure. But the problem with that is I can just Spore it again now. And Hyper Voice. Bullet Seed would have just KO'd, but... Hey, nothing wrong with playing a little extra safe, right? Alright, so that one looked a lot like it was going the same way as the first game, but Mega Gardevoir and Breloom were just so strong they turned it around in the end. Spore continues to be broken, and since I was clicking into flying types the whole time, I didn't even really have to worry about my own Tapu Fini's terrain. I'll get one more with this team. I had one game that went really badly, one game that went really well. Let's break that tie. Then I think it'll be time for Mega Tyranitar. I'm a little skeptical of Mega Tyranitar. I remember the attitude toward it when Gen 6 and 7 were current, being that it was just not usually very worthwhile over regular Tyranitar, because that also has great stats and can use a different item. Mega Tyranitar just didn't bring enough to the table, was the popular opinion, at least in single battles. Maybe it was different in VGC, I don't know. I did have Mega Tyranitar in a draft league at one point. I'd like to talk about that draft league sometime. I'm not completely over it. It was a singles draft league, Gen 7. I really liked my team. I was having a good season, and then the season was canceled because too many people just kept not showing up to play their sets. Or not sets, I think it was just best of one. Too many people kept showing up to not showing up to play their games. And the season was canceled when my team that I liked a lot was doing really well. I think I want to talk about that one sometime. But yeah, I had Mega Tyranitar on that team. It was a fun league. It was an Ubers league. They relaxed the ban list and adjusted the tier list in some odd ways that I don't think they fully thought through, but they did that so that everyone could get exactly 2 Pokemon that are normally banned from Gen 7 singles draft. My 2 were Yveltal and Defense Deoxys. But like I said, that's a subject for another time. Tyranitar, Tapu Fini, Incineroar, Kartana, Gengar, Zapdos. I think if I set Trick Room on this, that's probably pretty good. I think the Fini's a threat. I should probably bring Breloom to help me deal with it. I think I could do something like Gardevoir, Landorus, get intimidated into their physical threats, click Earth Powers into things maybe. Trick Room, Fini, Breloom. Gardevoir, Trace, Intimidate. Their Incineroar's at -2. So is the Zapdos, but that doesn't matter. I could Rock Tomb the Zapdos. I'm at -1 attack, and honestly, making it slower is probably not that good for me. Probably want damage on Zapdos, though, so I'll click Hidden Power into it. They fake out Incineroar. They fake out Landorus, is what I mean by that. Could have set Trick Room there pretty freely. Probably still do it here. Get some chip into Zapdos. That could be valuable for Fini and Breloom in the back. They set Tailwind, which is really nice for me. It is Psychic Seed Zapdos, though, which is not as nice for me. Actually, I think I'm better off clicking Psyshock into that because I'll hit the unboosted defense stat. Let's go Fini here. Reserve Landorus. They have Calm Mind Fini, so do I. They have Roost Zapdos. So very bulky, so very hard to deal with here. Do I Calm Mind or do I go back to Landorus? Maybe even bait out their Zed move. Nope, it doesn't have a Zed Crystal, it had a Psychic Seed. I'll Calm Mind. I'm slower, I can get the boost. Make it harder for it to remove Fini with something like a Thunderbolt. It's a really awkward position, but they also can't even get the Para as long as Misty Terrain is up. Go Kartana. I could have started Psyshocking Fini here. Kartana is a massive threat. I'm actually just going to Hyper Voice. They can just protect through this. Alright, I'll Psyshock Fini. Little Muddy Water. Looking for damage into Kartana if I can get it. Otherwise, an accuracy drop into Fini would be nice. No such luck. I can Intimidate Kartana. It'll probably then immediately take a KO and get its attack stat back, but that at least will give me an opening to get Breloom in, I think. Oh, there's their Zed move. Bloom Doom into Fini through the Protect. Doesn't KO thanks to the Protect. They don't get a Beast Boost this turn. Go Breloom. I'm threatening Kartana, but I'm more interested right now in Bullet Seeding Fini, I think. They take out my Fini. I would really like this Bullet Seed to KO. And it does. Only needed 2 hits. They still have Zapdos, though. I don't think I have a way to beat that. Let's see if I can find something. Substitute Kartana. Of course it is. So hard to deal with here. Alright. This is a fun team, but yeah, I'm not doing the best with it. What can you do? We're going to move a little more quickly now because I'm getting tired. So, Mega Tyranitar is what I said I wanted next. I have 3 options. The one with Melodic looks kind of fun. The one with Therian, Thundurus, and Smeargle looks kind of fun. Let's take a look at that. By Barry Anderson. I think that's the Baz Anderson that I've heard of, like early on when I was watching Wolf Glick. He would mention someone with that name sometimes. I don't know much about them. Scarf Transform Smeargle. Am I going to figure out how to play that right now? I don't know, but at least I understand Scarf Spore. That's something. Dragon Dance Mega Tyranitar. I guess that's how you put Mega Tyranitar's extra base stats to use. It gets a lot of bulk and some attack. But you can use that bulk to set up with Dragon Dance and go nuts with Rock Slide. We got Zed, Psychic, Tapu Lele with Taunt. We got Overheat, Rage Powder, Tailwind, Volcarona. Again, we got another Zed move user. Swords Dance Kartana with Leaf Blade, Sacred Sword, Titanium Zed, and Detect. And Adrenaline Orb Thundurus, so it'll get speed boosted by Intimidate, which could be very valuable with Thunderbolt, Hidden Power Ice, Nasty Plot, and Protect. A lot of setup offense here enabled by Scarf Spore Smeargle. And I guess the other thing you can do with Smeargle is transform it into one of your own setup attackers and also copy their boosts. So your opponent has to try to deal with that boosted Pokemon twice, whether it's Nasty Plot, potentially +1 speed Thundurus, Swords Dance Kartana, Dragon Dance Mega Tyranitar. It's a very fun concept. Here's Comfy and EZ to wear again. Incineroar, Nihilego, Charizard, Snorlax, Tapu Lele, and Kartana. Mega Tyranitar could go kind of crazy into this. It's so good into Mega Charizard Y. We finally found an amazing Mega Charizard Y answer. A little bit afraid of Kartana, but Volcarona helps a lot with that. I think if I bring Tyranitar and Volcarona, I'm in pretty good shape. Do I want to lead Smeargle? Tricky question when they have Fake Out pressure. But oh, I have Lele. Then why don't I just lead Lele, Smeargle, and then bring Tyranitar and Volcarona in the back? Wait, this team looks so strong. I'm sure there's something that makes it hard to use, but I can Spore the Nihilego. Or I can Spore the Lele and taunt the Nihilego. Or I can Spore the Lele and Psychic the Nihilego. Which is what I'm going to do. They can go out to Incineroar. They do, but it can't click Fake Out. Forgot that they have Scarf Lele. We do know that from past games. But now, Mega Tyranitar, well, regular Tyranitar for now, it'll get Mega. Spore Incineroar, what's stopping me? A Grass type switching in, fair enough. That's very threatening. It'll have Sacred Sword, right? I could Protect here. It's probably safer, but I want to see what happens. Leaf Blade into Tyranitar, just one shots with a crit. All right, yeah, should have protected, huh? I'd actually be in a pretty decent position if I'd done that, but I was curious as to what would happen. Flew too close to the sun. What can I say? I have Protect on Tapu Lele. I might as well use it. Who's coming in? Okay. Still Psychic Drain. It still can't Fake Out. I can redirect the Rock Attack and probably just knock out Nihilego with a Shattered Psyche. Unless that happens. They can pretty safely switch into their Lele here, but what am I going to do? Not click Psychic again? I'm just so badly positioned. Tyranitar would have gone crazy if I hadn't just let them knock it out with Kartana, but I did very much do that, and knowingly, so it's not like I can complain about it. Alright, that's GG. Gengar, Incineroar, Kartana, Feeny, Latias. Got a Latias sighting. And Landorus. Therian form, but they're all Therian form. I don't think I've seen an Incarnate Landorus yet on this ladder. And I've played some games. Mega Tyranitar goes nuts into most of this team. Not so much Kartana. Has issues with Landorus as well. I guess it has issues with Feeny, but not that big as issues go. I have uncontested weather control and high special bulk, especially with the sand boost. Feeny's probably a little bit afraid of Rock Slide. They have 2 Intimidate users. I can think about bringing Thundurus to this and trying to overwhelm things like Kartana with that. In fact, I might want to lead Thundurus. In fact, let's try leading Smeargle. Yeah, let's try leading Smeargle Thundurus. Even if they get Fake Out pressure with Incineroar because I didn't lead Lele. You know, that doesn't come with 0 cost. That commits Incineroar's action. Smeargle is still drawing a lot of attention then and creating openings for its teammates. I don't like Volcarona that much here. Let's bring Kartana. Might need the help into their Feeny. They lead Gengar Incin. So they do give me +1 Thundurus immediately. I'm clicking Spore. They can Fake Out Smeargle, and that's fine. But if they don't, their Gengar takes a nap. Their Gengar takes a nap. Perfect. Incineroar, you turning out of here. Who's coming in? Feeny. Okay, can't Spore so freely now that they have Misty Terrain on the field. Also can't switch, so nothing to do but click Spore. I'll go for a Nasty Plot if they'll let me. They switched into Flying type. I just Spore it. You know, I would have switched Smeargle out if they hadn't trapped it. So their own trapping works against them there. Gengar wakes up. Why is everything waking up so quickly this generation? Feels like that's been happening a lot. Am I wrong? It feels like that's been happening so very much. Oh, whatever. Feels like everything wakes up as soon as it can this generation. Let's get rid of this Landorus because it's asleep, yes, but it's a threat to Tyranitar. That is very funny. Oh, perfect. That is very funny that they switched in a Flying type when there was nothing I could do with the Smeargle slot but click Spore. Even though I had every incentive not to do that. Just literally no other choice. Oh, Gengar's gonna get hit, or Feeny is gonna get hit by something here. They didn't Fake Out. So Incineroar gets hit by something too. How does it fail a U-turn? It side U-turned into its teammate? That's the only way that text plays there. Why did it side U-turn? Maybe just a misclick. Anyway, that's more what this team is supposed to look like, I think. Tyranitar and Thundurus boosting up and going nuts. That Spore into Landorus was pretty funny, though. I didn't want to do that, and they took away my choice, and it paid off for me. Seriously, why does everything wake up so quickly in this generation? It feels like way more than I'm used to. Things are waking up first turn. I'm not really keeping track that well, so I could be mistaken, but anyway. Charizard, Tyranitar, Melodic, Aegislash, Landorus, Bulu. I finally have something that's good into Charizard. It's called Mega Tyranitar. It has issues with some of their other Pokemon, but it sure is good into Charizard. We saw Thundurus go crazy against opposing Landorus because I have the Ice Hidden Power and I'm speed boosted by the Adrenaline Orb. That's also good into Melodic. It's also good into Charizard. It's rough into their Tyranitar, but I can Spore that. They don't even have an Incineroar. They don't have Fake Out. They also don't have Psychic Terrain. Or no, they don't have electric or misty terrain, so Spore goes crazy. Scarf Spore goes crazy here, actually. Let's just do that, and I'll bring Tyranitar. There's a case for Volcarona here, if only because of the Bulu, but I don't love it. There's the Aegislash too, actually. I don't really want Tyranitar taking King's Shield if I can avoid it. I'll bring Volk. Landorus Tyranitar, that is interesting for Thundurus. I get the speed boost. I'm also immediately threatened by Tyranitar, but like I said, I can just Spore that. They don't even have a way to stop me. Free KO on Landorus. Free Spore into Tyranitar. I thought about Nasty Plot, but wasn't sure I'd want to take a Rock Slide or something back. But maybe the Landorus went for U-turn there. It's possible. Now, the problem will be when Tyranitar wakes up immediately, and I do try to click Nasty Plot, and it just Rock Slides, but I'm going to Spore into Aegislash. They still have nothing stopping me. And I might as well preserve Smeargle here and go nothing because they forfeit. This team just absolutely shreds opponents who aren't ready for it. Now, there are a lot of things they could do, right? Like I noted up front that this opponent didn't have Fake Out and didn't have either one of the terrains that stop sleep. Electric terrain stops sleep specifically. Misty terrain stops all status. But not into flying types and levitators. So that was this opponent's team was very weak to what I was doing here, and it showed. But yeah, if they don't have certain counterplay, this team just shreds. Let's see if we can do it again. It's a fun team for sure. I think my favorite teams are still the Hex Mega Gengar one and the Charizard Venusaur one from last stream, and from the video that comes out in a little less than an hour, where I use it again. The one with Baton Pass Eevee and Charizard Y is also pretty fun. But I like this team a lot so far. The Linoone team was a lot of fun. So I think my very favorites are still from earlier sessions, but a couple of really good ones here for sure. I mean, these are all really good teams. It's just a matter of how well I click with them and figure out how to use them and whatnot, right? This is a repeat opponent from, I think, not even very long ago. They have Fake Out. They have a terrain that stops status. I'll bring Volk this time. Help me deal with their Kartana. They brought Mega Latias. They didn't bring Intimidate right off the bat. That's smart of them. Lele is not trapped yet, so I can switch Tyranitar in before the Gengar Mega evolves, and I don't think they have much to threaten that. I'm just going to go for the Nasty Plot. I'm not sure that's a good idea, but I want to see what happens. Psyshock into Thundurus. That does a lot, admittedly. But, I mean, this feels pretty free now. This Dragon Dance. And if they switch to if they go to either of their Intimidate Pokemon to weaken Tyranitar, not only do they only manage to offset the boost, but they also have to give the speed boost to Thundurus. So that's a nice synergy in this format. Physical Mega Pokemon with a lot of stats, kind of hard to take down. And Adrenaline Orb. Something. Don't love getting poisoned, but not the end of the world. I can Crunch and Hidden Power. Landorus drops. Of course, getting a team like this in-game, you'd have to get Ice Hidden Power on your Thundurus. I would not have the patience to reset for that, or whatever it takes. That was another pretty quick one. You know what? Let's get one more. This team just cooks. What can I say? I bet a lot of people hated playing against this team back in the day, but it's fun to be on this side of it. But yeah, it's not a team I would ever build in-game because getting specific hidden powers on anything was beyond my patience. Honestly, it's a small part, but it is a part of why I didn't take up VGC back then. I don't think it's a complete accident that I didn't start VGC until after Hidden Power was removed from the game. Although it's more that I didn't expect to like it because I thought of double battles and especially bringing only 4 Pokemon as a gimmicky format until I actually saw what it looks like in Wolfglick's content and went, wait, this is super fun. But also, any thoughts that I had growing up of like, whoa, there are official competitions, maybe I should try this, were kind of stamped out immediately by the by what a task it was back then to actually get the Pokemon trained in-game at a competitive level. And it's not a coincidence that I started actually doing that when they made it way easier in Sword and Shield. So this is not a team I would ever have built in-game, most likely. But that's a shame, because it's a lot of fun. And it is just blasting through some of these opponents like nothing else I've tried today. Taking a while to get an opponent. Hope the ladder doesn't die before I get to Mega Metagross and maybe that one Mega Venusaur team. After those, though, I'm definitely done. If I don't bail sooner. This is maybe the longest wait yet, though. I haven't actually kept track. It's been pretty good today, though. There hasn't been like a 5-minute wait like last time when I was streaming on Sunday evening instead of early to mid-afternoon. It has been better. Hopefully this is not just when the ladder is slowing down right now. Again, my original plan for this stream was to have done a bunch of this already and to try to build my own team today. I may yet try to find time, by Thursday at the latest, to try to build my own team. But I cannot promise that I will be doing that. It's a maybe I'll still try thing. Charizard, Landorus, Gothitelle, Hitmontop, Intimidate, Fake Out, Wide Guard. Haven't seen one yet, but decent mon. Bisharp, Tapu Koko. Hitmontop also kind of hard counters Tyranitar. Great. Does have a bit of trouble with Thundurus, though. Bisharp also, big problem for Tyranitar, smaller problem for Thundurus. Honestly, leading Tyranitar Thundurus into this is an option. The Gothitelle is a threat, obviously. The Koko can stop Spore, so leading Smeargle is not as tempting. Transform Smeargle in the back could still be fun. Kartana could be fun here, but the Charizard is a threat. But the Charizard is a threat to like everything on my team except Tyranitar and Thundurus. I'm just going to lead Tyranitar and Thundurus. We'll see what happens. And I'll bring Smeargle in the back. And I mean, Lele is kind of a mid-ground mon, but I think it's just kind of mid into their whole team except Hitmontop. I'm not really very inspired by that. Volcarona is good into Hitmontop and Bisharp, but not much else. But Hitmontop and Bisharp are what I'm afraid of, but Charizard is also what I'm afraid of, and Volcarona is bad into Charizard. But nothing I have here is good into Charizard. I'll just bring Lele. They lead Hitmontop, Bisharp. They get Intimidate immediately. I probably want to get Tyranitar out of here. I can do that because they didn't lead. They didn't lead Gothitelle. But actually, this is where it would have been nice to have brought Volcarona because that would be a pretty free switch in on Bisharp and Hitmontop. I switch in Lele. I probably just lose it to an Iron Head. I'll just protect for now. Go for a Nasty Plot. I could sack Smeargle. Smeargle's a little bit shakier in this matchup than it's been in some of the others. They probably have Mach Punch as well as Electric Terrain potentially in the back. They fake out Thundurus, obviously not what I was hoping to see, but not really surprising. They do Iron Head. Alright. I'll go Smeargle. Smeargle can still pull off some other shenanigans if it survives this turn. They go Landorus. I can always Spore that. Unless Smeargle just gets knocked out here, but that's fine. They brought like all their Tyranitar answers, which makes Tyranitar not great to have here. But I can go Lele. I can Hidden Power the Landorus, and I can threaten the Hitmontop with... I'm going to go Moonblast, because that catches Bisharp coming in. Hopefully doesn't get the special attack drop, but what can you do? Moonblast is stronger into Bisharp and Gothitelle. Psychic actually would be stronger to Charizard, but they do switch in Bisharp. I don't get the drop. That's good here. They go Hitmontop. They can't fake out Lele, but they can fake out Thundurus because it's a flying type. I'll protect Thundurus. They can't Sucker Punch Lele either. It's fully protected by the terrain. It's just Thundurus that isn't. I get a Moonblast to knock out the Bisharp. That's 2 of their 3 Tyranitar counters gone. We never find out what their last Pokemon is. They forfeit. I know I'm supposed to move on, but I just want to keep playing with this team right now. I think this is the first time. The Linoone was a lot of fun, but I think this is the first time I felt like this in this stream. So maybe this team is up there with those 2 Charizard Y teams and that Hex Gengar one. This person is a Nidoking, which is a new one to me. I know Wolf Glick included it on his best poison and ground types list. Charizard, Nidoking, Lele, Amoonguss, Raichu, Bisharp. Nidoking's actually pretty good in Tyranitar too, isn't it? Well, but it's a special attacker, so it has to contend with that boosted special bulk and sand. They can clear sand with their Charizard, most likely, but, you know. Their terrain doesn't stop Spore. Amoonguss is immune, but it still looks pretty strong. They don't have Intimidate, unfortunately, so Thundurus can't feast on that. But Thundurus I can still lead Tyranitar and switch Thundurus in on the likes of Nidoking and Bisharp, right? There's that defensive synergy as well. So that's another layer with which this team is well built. And I'll bring my Spore immunity that also can Sacred Sword Bisharp and Leaf Blade Lele. Bring Cortana to this one. Yeah, I also just have... I can't take advantage of an Intimidate, but I also just have raw defensive synergy. Mostly one way. I don't think Tyranitar covers any of Thundurus' weaknesses. It only has a couple weaknesses anyway, but Thundurus comes in pretty nicely on a lot of Tyranitar's weaknesses, actually. Ground, fighting, steel, grass, bug. You love some nice clean synergy like that. They're threatening a lot of offense immediately, but I can Spore the Lele, and the Charizard is not that threatening anymore. Not that threatening in front of Tyranitar, right? They can change the weather now. I guess they were saving their Mega Evolution because actually Tyranitar has Sandstream in both of its forms, so if I had saved my Mega Evolution, they could Mega Evolve and set the Sun, but then I would Mega Evolve and set the Sand back up. But now I got to Spore into this slot. Against attack. It's Nidoking. Get some damage on that. Knock out Lele. Scarf Spore is just so powerful. I wonder if there's a way to make use of it in Gen... Go Thundurus here. I wonder if there's a way to make use of Scarf Spore in Gen 9. I guess you need something strong to complement it, like this Mega Tyranitar that's so hard to deal with, especially when you have Thundurus on the same team. But... Oh, Encore Raichu, that's scary. I can just lock Thundurus into... Yeah, I don't like that. But maybe I can just get rid of the Raichu here. Honestly, when else am I using my Z move in this game? I'm sure that's not what that's for on this team, but I'm not getting a better use for it into Charizard and Nidoking. I feel like I lost my train of thought somewhere. If there's anything I want from this team from this format that I want to experiment with in Gen 9, it might be Scarf Spore Smeargle. You could probably do something with the transform too. I'm sure it's hard. I haven't clicked transform a single time in this stream, and I don't think I'm going to now because Tyranitar just wins from here. I love how these two Pokemon complement each other. It's a great bit of synergy, especially with the Adrenaline Orb. Again, the Ice type hidden power ties it together. Real hassle to get in the game, but on Showdown, this is an excellent duo that I'm enjoying very much, especially with so many Mega Charizard Y on the ladder, just getting countered by Tyranitar. And not great into Thundurus either. Very relevant duo into this meta, so to speak. I think I can call it after this battle, though. I think we're gonna hit diminishing returns if I keep laddering with this team. But this team is so much fun. This is definitely one of my favorites of these samples. I think it's Hex, in no particular order. I think it's Hex, Mega Gengar, the two Charizard Y teams that I tried, the one with Venusaur and the one with Eevee. This team here. And then, honestly, I'm not sure it's on the same level. I think Mega Linoone, Extreme Speed Linoone just gets like an honorable mention. That was a fun team, but I don't think it's on the same level as those other ones. Let's try Mega Metagross. This one has Mega Tyranitar on it as well. Oh, and these ones have Mega Venusaur, so I can actually kill two birds with one stone here, if I want. That said, I haven't used Nihilego yet. I could do this team. Let's take a look at this one. But let's also take a look at this one with Alolan Marowak. And Gyarados? Do I want Gyarados? What does Gyarados do here? Dragon Dance? That's fun. Blyneum Z, so one time it gets bounced without the it gets a stronger bounce without the extra turn. Porygon 2, Leech Seed, Mega Venusaur, Wall Things, Feeny, Stop Status, or you can do Trick Room Offense with Marowak. Or you can hit things hard and fast with Mega Metagross and Gyarados. I think this is an interesting enough team to give it a go. I think we can count this as the Mega Metagross team and the Mega Venusaur team. I think this is going to be the last team of this stream. Unless I go back to that Mega Tyranitar team because I just enjoyed it so very much. This is the other one I was looking at. It does have a Nihilego. I don't want to use Trick Room Nihilego. I like Nihilego a lot. It's another of my favorite Ultra Beasts. My top three, and I'm not sure of the order, are probably Naganadel, Blacephalon, and Nihilego. But I don't think I have the brain power for Trick Room Nihilego right now. I think this is the last team of the stream. Unless at the end I want to play even more and I want to go back to Mega Tyranitar. Alright, Gengar, Incineroar, Kartana, Tapu Fini, Latias, and Landorus. How do I want to play against this? Trick Room strong. Mega Marowak. Everything's Mega to me now. I'm getting tired. Everything's Mega. I have Perish Song. Alolan Marowak gets Perish Song. No trapping on this team, but it's fine. It's a late game win con. Alolan Marowak goes crazy into this team, except the Landorus, and yeah, they have a couple of Intimidates. But they're Intimidate losers. They're Intimidate losers. That's a funny slip. Their Intimidate users lose to Tapu Fini. So Fini, Marowak, Porygon 2 mode looks very strong here. I could do Metagross. I could do Metagross, Porygon 2. I could do Gyarados, Porygon 2. I could do Venusaur. Let's do Venusaur, Porygon 2. Let's start with the Mega Venusaur side of this team. Only thing is I'm not sure what that does to lead Gengar, but I'm not really sure what any of this does to lead Gengar. Marowak is probably my best answer to Gengar, but I don't think I want to just throw it into the lead slot like that. No Protect on Porygon 2. I think that changes my incentives a little bit. Also, no reason not to Mega Evolve Venusaur. I didn't bring Metagross. I can at least Leech Seed Gengar. Oh, it could have Taunt. I hope it doesn't. They fake out Venusaur. No Taunt. Okay. No Leech Seed either. And of course, I'm trapped. Let's just go for damage on Incin. How will I switch? I'm just not used to that move, but okay. Let's not do what I said. Let's do this. At least now I can switch again. And having Feeny seated is very nice for me. I can go to my Feeny. Not in that slot. Oops. I think I'm down to just spread Leech Seeds around. I go back to Gengar. Probably should have anticipated that. I guess Feeny is pretty awkwardly positioned against their Gengar now. And it would have been better if I just attacked this slot. Although I just am not threatening great damage into their Gengar overall. Giga Drain goes into only one resistance instead of two, so that's something. Yeah, I've kind of just gifted them my Feeny the way I've played this. But at least I can get good damage into Gengar. Maybe burn it for the chip. I don't manage to do that, but maybe I could have. And at least they don't have anybody in the back that wants to switch in on this combination of moves, so they kind of... I guess I could protect here. But otherwise, they're kind of stuck letting Gengar take the damage. But I think I've not really accomplished anything in this instance of Trick Room. I never got the Alolan Marowak on the field to really go crazy. And the Incineroar is a problem for it anyway. So getting that damage into Incineroar is great. Okay, its Berry makes it less great. Kartana knocking out Feeny here makes it less great. Because if I go Marowak here, I'm just slower than Incineroar at that point. Not very good. I guess I go... I also don't have a fire attack on Marowak. But I think I just have to try to get rid of the Kartana before Porygon 2 can do anything. Yeah, I think I've just kind of squandered my Trick Room turns here. Yeah, Marowak just loses to Incineroar. It's honestly not really worth playing it out, but... Hey, let's see. I'm also really starting to lose focus, so I'm pretty sure this is the last team for the stream. Alright. But even so, I definitely just think I didn't know how to play this. The Gengar... Shadow Tag is such a crazy ability. The Gengar trapping things whenever it was on the field just made it so much harder to ever get a Alolan Marowak on the field in Trick Room. And of course, as soon as they caught Tapu Fini out of position, that opened up a huge hole in my team. Mawile, Gothitelle, Fini, Marowak. They also have a Marowak. They also have a Stack Attack. So I think I'm a lot more interested in the Gyarados Metagross stuff in this game instead of my own Trick Room stuff. Let's go Metagross. Do I lead it? Honestly, I can. I get Intimidate. Fini having Taunt, though, is pretty valuable here. Let's do Metagross with Taunt Fini. Let's bring Gyarados in the back. And I'm actually down to bring Alolan Marowak, I think. Pretty threatening and do Mawile still, at least. That's probably wrong. Porygon 2 is probably better, but I don't know. There's not really a very clean Pokemon to bring. Alright, because I'm planning to Mega Evolve Metagross. I'm going to do it right now. So Venusaur is immediately nerfed by that. Porygon 2 has, at least I could cheese them with Ally Switch, but not very inspiring. Anyway. I'll just double into Stack Attack here. I want to deny the Trick Room if I can. There we go. Marowak wipes out Metagross immediately with Flare Blitz, but takes a bunch back, and there's no Trick Room. I'll go Gyarados here. Get an Intimidate. I should be fine to click Dragon Dance here. And fish for a burn on Mawile. Okay, they switched to Incineroar. That taking a Scald is fine with me too. If I just protect, what do they do? They have Swords Dance? Or Perish Song of their own? The one I'm using is Perish Song. I didn't think about that. Rock Slide, okay. Well, let's not let them do that again. Dual water types picking their team apart. Something kind of satisfying about that. They do get another Intimidating to Gyarados here, but like, what are they threatening it with after that? There's their Mega. Dragon Dance still feels pretty good. Let's see if I can... I don't need to burn Mawile. Alolan Marowak should beat it. Let's just focus on getting rid of Incineroar. There goes my Wiki Berry. No recovery here. Let's take damage into Incineroar. Probably doesn't have Protect. Most of them don't. Yep, so Waterfall misses the KO because we took so many Intimidates, but Scald gets it. Mawile's on its own, and here's what it doesn't want to see in the back. Alolan Marowak. Keep Dragon Dancing. Guess I'm not using my Z move this game. Oh, it has Sucker Punch. Not gonna lie, didn't realize that one. But it doesn't beat both of these now. In fact, I'll detect here. I'll probably Sucker Punch Marowak again, yeah. Waterfall doesn't quite KO, but now I can Waterfall and Shadow Bone, and one of them KOs no matter what. They take the KO on Marowak still, but they lose to Gyarados. I'm really running out of steam, but that was only 2 games with this team. I'm gonna get one more, and ideally I'll try to get redemption for Mega Venusaur. That would be nice. And I'll probably call it there. We'll see how I feel, but I am fading a bit here. Not used to streaming. I do have to figure out how to pace myself if I do more of this. But I'm not too bothered about not having figured it out immediately. There are growing pains for this kind of thing, right? I was going to say it's a skill, but really there are multiple skills that go into it. Same concept. Got to get one more opponent, of course. Do want to get at least one more game. Probably just one. It doesn't take too terribly long, but so it goes in the 2018 ladder sometimes. It's fine. No big deal. It takes a little bit of time. No big deal. Oh, Mega Camera up to Sunroom. Interesting. Oranguru. There's a scary Pokemon that I haven't had to deal with yet here. Sableye. That could have screens. It could have Will-O-Wisp. This is a tricky team. Torkoal, I'm sure, is slower than Marowak. Camerupt turns out is in fact slower too. All that, and they have Lilligant, of course. Gyarados shuts down a lot of this team, but has to watch out for Will-O-Wisp. Honestly, Mega Venusaur is probably pretty good here, thanks to Thick Fat. I like Feeny. Oh, Feeny denies Feeny stops them from Will-O-Wisping something like Metagross. It doesn't protect Gyarados because Gyarados is a flying type. This is not Mega Gyarados. It can't turn off the flying typing. But I do have that option. Marowak is immune to Will-O-Wisp anyway. But it does help Metagross. And actually, Metagross is pretty hard for them to deal with, I think, if they can't status it. Let's do Metagross Feeny lead. That probably means not Venusaur then. I'll bring Marowak and Gyarados. A dual Mega team is definitely interesting. A bunch more that goes into thinking about it. Does this just work like it does in Scarlet and Violet? Because if so, I probably want to just go straight out to Marowak here and get damage on Torkoal. Does Torkoal run Solar Beam in this format? I'm not used to facing Torkoal here. It's usually just Mega Charizard Y everywhere. Oh, they went for Sleep Powder. I don't think they knew. It does run Solar Beam. Or this one does, at least. And with that damage, it's going to KO before I get my berry. That's so awkward for me. Yeah, they don't know why the Sleep Powder isn't working. Torkoal is now not a threat unless they do have After You. But if they do, they'll go for Solar Beam. So I think I can just switch Metagross in here. Preserve Feeny. Might want to be able to get the Misty Terrain back up later. Just play carefully around the speed control issue. I don't know for sure that Lilligant even gets After You in this generation. But don't want to lose to it now, so I'll protect Metagross this turn. There it is. But they used it on my Marowak. That's just a goofed up input, I guess. But hey, I covered for the fire attack all the same, so we're fine. Maybe I should low kick Oranguru. Right, double into it, try to deny Trick Room. Oh well, I didn't do that. Now they can Sleep Powder, but their Lilligant is turbo fast compared to everything else, so that's awkward for them. Oh, but it can instruct. They can instruct, right? But if they instruct now, it'll use Energy Ball, so that's fine. Lilligant's gone. Psyshock. I saw the animation for a second. I thought that might be foul play, and I got scared, but it wasn't. But they do have Mega Camerupt in the back. I do have 3 Trick Room turns to get through, but I also have my whole team. I think this double protect is pretty free, and then I can look to bring my water types in. In fact, that's probably just the play, right? Because this is going to be slower than Marowak. I could Perish Song, but it's going to knock Marowak out before I can do that. So I'm just going to switch in my 2 water types here. If they go ground attack into this slot again, they accomplish nothing this turn. They went Eruption. That doesn't accomplish a whole lot. That gives Feeny its berry that I was worried it might not get to use this game, and then I protect on both of these. That gets me out of Trick Room, and I have double super effective damage from both of my Pokemon into Camerupt. Pretty straightforward. Unfortunate for my opponent that they forgot or didn't realize that they couldn't Sleep Powder me in the Misty Terrain, but that was a pretty smooth one. Should I get another game to try to make Mega Venusaur work? I think Mega Venusaur is just not my thing in this format. I think we can let it go. I'm going to get one last game with the Tyranitar team. That's definitely been my favorite from this stream. So we'll send off the stream on that. But whatever happens here, this is last game for today. This is it. I could bring back the Linoone team too, but that team was fun. It didn't feel as smooth and amazing to use as this team did. We'll send it off with my favorite team from this specific stream. We'll wrap it up there. It is very convenient for Mega Tyranitar that so many people on this ladder are using Mega Charizard Y, which is understandable. There are some great Mega Charizard Y teams, and people like Charizard, but yeah, good news for Tyranitar. Also, Scarf Smeargle goes crazy. I really want to see if I can do something with Scarf Smeargle and Reg I now, if and when I get around to testing that. Not like there's a whole lot of misty terrain in Reg I. I guess there is a lot of electric terrain. That's a bit of an issue. And also power creep is an issue. And also just a lot of fake out spam. Okay, it's probably not as good in Reg I, but I'm curious, you know? Final opponent of the stream, brand new phone, Cresselia, Charizard, Landorus, Fini, Heatran, Kartana. A lot of threats to Tyranitar, but also a lot of things threatened by Tyranitar. They do have Misty Terrain. They also have 3 Pokemon that are not protected by it. I think that's good enough for me to lead Smeargle here. I think I'm down to lead Thundurus. That threatens pretty much everything and gets an Adrenaline Orb boost from Landorus. I'll bring Tyranitar. I'll bring Kartana. And we'll see what we can do. Kartana, Landorus. Kartana is always immune to Spore, but Landorus is never protected from Spore. And Kartana shouldn't be able to punish a Nasty Plot. I also get +1 immediately thanks to the Intimidate. Okay, Fini stops the Spore. I'll give him that. They can take the KO on Smeargle here. It's pretty free, yeah. But Thundurus is boosted. I can get my Kartana in here. Sword Stance, honestly. And yeah, Sword Stance, honestly, because this might switch. Or Protect and Hidden Power their Kartana. They go Landorus, that's just going to get knocked out. They do get intimidated into Kartana, but I click Sword Stance, it's fine. They go Muddy Water, they miss Thundurus. That's probably the one they were more worried about hitting. They do get an accuracy drop into Kartana, so that could come in handy for them as they go Charizard here. Thundurus at +1 speed is just so powerful in this format, though. I'm just going to Leaf Blade and Thunderbolt. Charizard protects. Do I get the Leaf Blade into Tapu Fini? Break through the accuracy drop. Yes, that's a Beast Boost. That's +2 attack. Their Kartana's back. No, it isn't. They just forfeit. I probably would Hidden Power the Kartana there because Mega Tyranitar in the back has no problem beating their Charizard. But yeah, I'm glad I ended it with this team. This team is just so much fun. I could probably keep streaming for a while with it, but I've already given it its due and I'm pretty worn out. I'm going to wrap the stream up here. Like I said, I don't know if I'll stream. I don't know if I'll play more 2018 at all. The ladder's only here for a few more days. I kind of hope this isn't the end, but I have limited time. It might be the end. I would like to try building a team of my own in this format. I will see if I can do that before the ladder goes away. But that is very much an I will see if I can, not an I definitely will. And it might or might not be live. It might or might not just be a video. It might or might not happen at all. Either way, I've had a lot of fun with this format. If you have not yet played this format and you want to, you don't have much time left. You have until Thursday, I think. Whenever the end of the month is. This sample team page from Nimbasa City Post has a lot of good teams on it. My personal favorites. I've tried something for every Mega Evolution. My personal favorites. The Fabian Brown Meowstic with Hex Mega Gardevoir. Alex Collins Mega Charizard Y with Venusaur and Belly Drum Snorlax. Jerry Myers Mega Charizard Y with Baton Pass Extreme Evo Boost Eevee and Psych Up on both Tapu Fini and Metagross. Barry Anderson Mega Tyranitar and Therian Thundurus. Incredible duo. We've seen them shred so many teams in this very stream. Scarf Smeargle as well, going crazy with them. And honorable mention, not quite on the same level, but I did enjoy it a lot. Alberto Lara Belly Drum Extreme Speed Linoone with Mega Scizor. A lot of fun teams to choose from. You might have a different playstyle from me. You might find something you enjoy more than those. If this is the end for my VGC 2018 run, it's been a lot of fun. If it isn't, I'll be back with something very soon. Thanks, everyone who tuned in. Thanks for chatting, Emmy and Fakey Zygro. Thanks to anyone who tuned in but didn't chat. That's often me when I'm a viewer, so don't worry. I completely understand and appreciate you tuning in all the same. Thanks to any VOD watchers or edited video watchers, whatever, if anything, I end up doing with this. And hopefully I'll stream more soon. I'm interested in it, but it's still very much just an experiment right now. We'll see what happens.